Chapter 2275. The Scarlet Blood Warship. This is the legendary warship left behind by the legendary Scarlet Blood Pirate King. In that case, is Xiao Sua's group here? Back when they parted at the 100,000 Great Peaks, it had been close to 10 years since Xiao Sua saw them. Xiao Sua looked forward to this group of people inheriting the Scarlet Blood Pirate King's treasures and making a name for themselves in the 7 Forbidden Seas. Brother Xiao, the Heavenly Book Scholar, smiled faintly and appeared around the corner, arriving before Xiao Chun. You came at the right time. Xiao Chun withdrew his gaze and fixed it on the Heavenly Book Scholar. The Heavenly Book Scholar smiled and said, "It's still all right. I estimated that you would probably come out on the last day. Hence, I came early. It looks like I was right." Xiao Chun did not say anything more. He asked directly, "Is it the Scarlet Blood warship above the royal residence?" The two chatted as they walked. When the Heavenly Book Scholar mentioned the Scarlet Blood warship, he revealed a strange expression. He said, "Indeed. Speaking of which, it is rather coincidental. Ever since the 9th Prince decided to seize the throne, his Emperor's star has been rising. The strength of his luck has surpassed my expectations. Since you entered closed-door cultivation, experts have been coming to seek refuge. 3 days ago, the Black Cutlass pirate group that shook the Forbidden Seas came as well. It is not strange for a pirate group to target the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. After all, the inheritances and fortuitous encounters in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb are very attractive to sovereign emperors. However, I find it strange. Why did the Black Cutlass pirate group target the 9th Prince?" Xiao Chun smiled faintly and did not say anything more. It looked like Xiao Sua's group did not see Xiao Chun. It was not surprising that Xiao Sua did not reveal his relationship with Xiao Chun. "Who else is coming?" Xiao Chun asked. "Wait and see for yourself. The 9th Prince is already waiting for you." After a while, the two arrived at the main hall of the royal residence. Aside from the 9th Prince and Su Yi, there was no one else. Wang Yin narrowed his eyes and looked at Xiao Chun in shock. After not seeing Xiao Chun for 1 month, Xiao Chun's strength had increased significantly again. This time, even Wang Yin could not make out Xiao Chun's strength. After nodding slightly, Wang Yin said softly, "Since Brother Xiao is already here, Changji, get those main and backup guests to come over. Prepare to depart." "I'll go prepare." The Heavenly Book Scholar left after receiving the order. Xiao Chun felt anticipation in his heart, curious about who would be there. "Is the recruitment of guests going smoothly?" Xiao Chun asked Su Yi and Wang Yin. Su Yi took the initiative to smile and say, "It is much better than I expected. Lord Xiao, you really hid yourself well. You have given the 9th Prince and me a pleasant surprise." "Oh," Wang Yin smiled mysteriously. "You will know in a while." Not long after, the sound of hurried footsteps came from outside the door, and a person rushed in first. The newcomer was dressed in gray and had regular facial features. There was a deathly aura around him that could not be washed away. He exuded a forthright temperament, as if he rarely saw the sun, so his face was slightly pale. Xiao Chen's eyes immediately lit up as he said softly, "Qin Zhuolin." The person who arrived was Qin Zhuolin, the strong geomaster that Xiao Chun had met in the Desolate Sea back then. When they first met, they had met the desolate slave soul reaper. But the memory was so deep that it was hard to forget it even now. Of course, what was even more unforgettable was the bottle of heartburn that Qin Zhuolin gave Xiao Chun. That had cheated him badly. Now that Xiao Chun thought about it, he felt that he had suffered a loss. If he had kept heartburn until now, his strength could have improved. "Why are you here?" Xiao Chun could not help asking out of curiosity. This fellow frequently wandered the desolate seas underground, passing through many ancient tombs. It was rare to see him leave the desolate sea. Qin Zhuolin smiled and said, "Everyone in the world knows about the succession race in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Originally, I was not interested. However, I heard that you came to join in the excitement, so I came to take a look. Coincidentally, the 9th Prince took a liking to it, so I stayed behind." Wang Yin said softly, "Mr. Qin is too humble." Following closely behind Qin Zhuolin was Ao Jiao. A stout man followed beside her, revealing most of his upper body and having a flame totem tattooed on it. Ao Jiao looked at Xiao Chun and smiled gently as she walked over. "This is?" Xiao Chun asked, finding it strange. The Bushan Palace had the 8 great empires assist the 13th prince. However, I heard that you became the 9th prince's guest, so I did not send the sovereign emperors. This is the strongest sovereign emperor under 500 years old in the Golden Crow Empire, Senior Hao Kai. The stout man did not show any arrogance. He performed a cupped fist salute and said, "Hao Kai greets the 9th prince and Lord Xiao. Since the divine daughter gave the order, I naturally have to do my best. I will follow the 9th prince's instructions on this trip." As Xiao Chun sized up Hao Kai, he felt startled in his heart. Hao Kai already possessed the strength of a 5-vein sovereign emperor. The fire attributed energy in Hao Kai's body inspired fear. He probably had at least an 8th layer Dao domain. By relying on his Golden Crow bloodline, Hao Kai was probably no weaker than Dao Yin. Right now, Xiao Chun did not know that Dao Yin already had a 10th layer Ice Dao domain and comprehended an ice small world, which is why he came to this conclusion. Gradually, more people appeared. Aside from Wu Meng, most of them were people that Xiao Chun was not familiar with. These were the guests that the 9th prince recruited himself. Among them, there was an old man who attracted Xiao Chun's attention. That old man was skinny. The light in his eyes was withdrawn, and he showed a calm expression. The 9th prince addressed this old man as Senior Feng. He was an expert of the Blood Eagle Army and also Wang Yan's strongest trump card. Xiao Chun did not pay much attention to this old man, as the appearance of someone in the main hall put significant pressure on everyone. Everyone could not help looking over. That person looked like a middle-aged man wearing long scarlet robes. His gaze was deep and calm. However, there was a frightening domineeringness on his face. His entire body gave off an unruly aura. "Big brother." This person walked straight to Xiao Chun and spoke in a deep voice with a sincere attitude. This startled many people in the main hall, making them feel incredibly surprised. Xiao Chun smiled calmly and said, "After not seeing you for 10 years, you did not let me down. You finally grew up." When Xiao Chun first met Xiao Suo, the other party did not even have a 3-star pirate ship. Now, Xiao Suo had such an air. The change was truly great. Xiao Suo's cultivation had even reached 3-vein sovereign emperor, 1 grade higher than Xiao Chen's. The Scarlet Blood Pirate King's treasures were indeed legendary. "I'm fine." Xiao Suo did not dare to be presumptuous before Xiao Chun. After greeting Xiao Chun, he went to greet Wang Yan. All the guests had arrived. On the surface, the strongest were Senior Feng and Hao Kai. These two were great perfection sovereign emperors with 5-vein cultivations. As for the remaining small perfection sovereign emperors, Xiao Chun felt that the stronger ones were Xiao Suo, Qin Juolin, and the Heavenly Book Scholar. As for the others, aside from Wu Meng, Xiao Chun was not familiar with them, so he could not evaluate them. In terms of overall strength, there was still a gap between them and the 3 princes. However, with this lineup, they would no longer be at the bottom among the princes. There was finally a glimmer of hope to become the crown prince. "Let's go. Now that everyone is here, let's head to the Imperial Palace." Time was tight. After the competition for slots, the Dao platform to the ancient Yin Emperor tomb would open. This matter was very important. Naturally, they could not delay. After chatting for a while, Wang Yin led the group out of his residence and headed for the Imperial Palace. In this generation of the Yinwu dynasty, there were dozens of princes regardless of their strength or status. All of them were qualified to recruit guests into the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Most of them were destined not to become the crown prince. However, they could not give up on the inheritance and fortuitous encounters in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Of course, there were some princes who hid themselves deeply, pretending to be pigs to eat tigers. No one could say for sure. It could only be said that this show was destined to be interesting. At this moment, the various princes in the various royal residences felt very pleased with themselves. They led their guests to the same destination, heading for the Imperial Palace in a grandiose fashion. there was still the final competition for slots in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Naturally, the strong princes were filled with anticipation. The princes who did not intend to fight for the throne could not give up even if they wanted to. In the 3 challenges, as long as someone targeted them, they would have to send out their guests to fight. If they lost, they would lose 1 guest slot. If they won, the other party would have 1 less guest slot. After the competition for slots, the strong would naturally become stronger, and the weak would become weaker. This could be considered the prelude to the succession race. It allowed one to determine the true strength of the various princes. Chapter 2276. In the age of great competition, everyone was like a dragon. Then, the various princes set off for the imperial palace. The entire Yinwu dynasty's territory, including the astral domains in the outer seas, could feel the wheel of fate spinning. The dynasty's luck surged as if some kind of power was startling it awake from its slumber. At the Yinwu dynasty's imperial palace, where luck gathered, a vast dragon might spread out. The dragon might seemed solid, turning into towering mountains circling above the imperial palace. A holy sword stabbed into those mountains, a holy sword that symbolized authority, status, and the Yin Emperor's throne. The princes with flourishing luck could even see this treasure sword that regular sovereign emperors could not see with the naked eye. As long as they could grasp this sword, they would become the crown prince of the dynasty and ascend to the Yin Emperor's throne. The place with the densest dragon chi in the imperial palace. Surrounded by the splendid palaces, there was a vast and boundless martial arts practice field. In the treasure hall in the clouds in the sky, the 108 feudal lords, the noble clans' clan heads, the sex pavilion masters, and many experts gathered here, preparing to watch the final competition for the slots. When noon arrived, the sun hung high in the sky. The various princes entered through the winding corridors in the imperial palace, entering the drill ground in a grandiose fashion. Outside the drill ground were many royal platforms and pavilions. The various princes entered the drill ground in an orderly manner according to their identities, ascending the tall platforms. The royal platforms were squarish and close to 100 meters tall. Banners fluttered on the railings in the surroundings. The princes sat there, and the guests either sat at the sides or stood there, sizing up the surroundings. The 9th Prince Wang Yin, Xiao Chun, and the others ascended the royal platforms. At this moment, wind and clouds gathered. All sorts of extraordinary people, demonic geniuses, and outstanding talents appeared. Although there were many people in the drill ground, it was quiet. No one made a ruckus. In the air, many pairs of eyes met and collided, creating intense sparks. Those who could come here were all dragons among men. They had to go through many rounds of selection and elimination before finally standing here. Nearly all the sovereign emperors of the righteous Tao and demonic Tao under 500 years old in the entire martial epoch gathered here. Some of these people knew each other, had old grudges or new grudges. This made the trip to the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, which everyone looked forward to in the first place, even more exciting. What kind of show would there be? Aside from this, most of the sovereign emperors present knew what was going on. Aside from the succession race, there was an even bigger game in this ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Misty Immortal Palace. No one knew how many guests had come for the ethereal Immortal Palace. However, Xiao Qin reckoned that there was at least a 70% chance that he had come. Even if he did not come for this, he had heard the prophecy of the ethereal Immortal Palace appearing. However, no one mentioned this matter. They had a tacit understanding. Xiao Qin was also looking around to see if he could find any familiar faces and how strong the other princes were. Naturally, Wang Fei was one of them. Even if Xiao Chan wanted to ignore the first Prince Wang Fei, he could not. Outside the martial arts practice field, his aura was the strongest among the many king's platforms. There were a total of more than 20 people, and he had 18 official candidates. If they won all 3 battles, the number of guests they would have would reach a terrifying 21. It was hard to imagine how horrifying the first prince's aura would be if Xiao Chun had not ruined his wedding. Xiao Chun casually glanced around and discovered an old acquaintance, Ming Xian. As Ming Xian stood behind the first prince, he had handsome facial features and a lotus-like air. He looked like a handsome man. However, he was a monk. That is, Xiao Qian let out a soft cry of surprise. When he saw the woman not far from Ming Xian, a strange look flashed in his eyes. It's Yang Qing, the Yang Qing that Xiao Qian once befriended in the Grave Sea Cluster. No, it is not Yang Qing. Yang Qing is already dead. This woman is the Azure Lotus Holy Daughter. The Yang Qing that Xiao Qian knew was just her Nirmanakia. The Nirmanakia was a completely different person and could not be confused with her. Just as Xiao Qian felt bewildered, that Yang Qing seemed to sense Xiao Qian's gaze. She smiled meaningfully at him. Xiao Qian withdrew his gaze, avoiding eye contact. As Xiao Qian withdrew his gaze, he did not notice that there was another person on the first prince's platform. There was another person covered in a black robe. His entire body shone with a blood-colored light, within which lightning flickered. That person's eyes stared at Xiao Qian like a venomous snake. Without a doubt, the first prince's platform was the most eye-catching spot. However, the first prince remained extremely low profile, sitting on the throne in the middle of the platform with his eyes closed. It seemed like the setback at the wedding had made the first prince withdraw his ambitions and endure silently, making him even more shrewd. Aside from the first prince, the most eye-catching ones were naturally the 8th prince and the 13th prince. The two of them each had 16 slots, second only to Wang Fei. Their lineup of guests was also extremely strong. On one side were the representatives of the entire Yanwu dynasty sections. The 8th Prince Wang Fei's platform was filled with sect demonic geniuses several hundred years old. None of them were weaker than 3 vain sovereign emperors. All of them were great perfection sovereign emperors. Among them, Dao Yin was the most eye-catching. His black eyes flickered with a faint, icy light. Dao Yan's eyes looked as pure as an astral gem, startling everyone. However, no one knew that Dao Yin had already formed an ice-small world. The 8th prince had gathered all the outstanding talents of his sect. The strength of his guests was flabbergasting. The threshold for the mercenary election was very advantageous for the 8th prince. He could recruit many experts without any effort. What was even more strange was that Emperor Wu's profound Heaven Holy Land's holy son, Wan Renyu, as well as the outstanding talents Mu Yunzhu and Gu Yuhan, were among them. Everyone sighed in shock. The 8th prince had actually hidden himself so deeply. He only revealed that he had the profound Heaven Holy Land support now. The 13th prince's guests were similarly shocking. Without exception, all of them were demonic geniuses with great desolate Ian bloodlines. When the 13th prince stood there, the aura of his great desolate Ian bloodline gathered, pressuring others. This was the innate advantage of his bloodline. Furthermore, these people were from the 7 or 8 empires under the Bushan Palace. Sovereign emperors under 500 years old fought against each other, becoming absolute elites. With one glance, Xiao Qian noticed several familiar faces by Yunfei, Xiahou Zun, and the Dragon God Crown Prince Qiming. There were also some princes that Xiao Qian did not notice. These princes possessed terrifying strength as well. Someone wearing a thick cloak and hood stood behind the 4th Prince Wang Yun. This person had his head buried. This was the hidden spirit temple's Yuan Zhen. He lowered his head, not looking at anyone. No one knew what he was thinking. The 6th Prince Wang Ming was even more horrifying. The underworld God Hall experts stood on his tall platform. The flood dragon human Yin Songming, Old Xiao from the Battle of the Underworld River, the Buddhist sect traitor Jin Yuan, and the Azura race and Rakshasa race experts. After disguising their identities, these people stood behind Wang Ming in a low-profile manner, not revealing anything. Others would find it hard to figure out where many outstanding talents gathered. They would not know what trump card Wang Ming was hiding. There were too many outstanding talents, too much for the eyes to take in. There was simply no way to see them all. Even Xiao Qian could not guarantee that he did not make a mistake. He vaguely felt that the 8 super factions had sent people here in secret. This included the low-profile Pirate Alliance and the underworld God Hall deep underground. Xiao Qian also saw Grim Reaper Lin Feng. The other party nodded slightly at him, not saying anything else. It looked like the Heavenly Alliance was planning to make two bets. On one hand, they had Mu Zifeng choose Xiao Chun and support the ninth prince. On the other hand, they had Swearin Ji send Lin Feng to support the seventh prince. They wanted to see who would emerge victorious. Unfortunately, they were somewhat disappointed. They did not see Chu Chaoyan. The universe origin sect's people did notice him. However, Chu Chaoyan was not among them. Perhaps he was hiding among the other princes. Perhaps he had already given up the ethereal Immortal Palace key in his hand, staying out of this matter. Everyone gathered, good and bad mixed together. Clearly, the many powerhouses in the clouds had not expected this. To think that this succession race actually attracted so many outstanding talents. There were even some demonic Tao cultivators among them. Suddenly, a vast imperial might tore through the clouds, shocking the entire place. It was the Yin Emperor. As he hovered in the air, he looked down on everyone. When he swept his gaze around, everyone felt fear in their hearts, not daring to meet his gaze. With the Yin Emperor's sacred sword, the Yin Emperor was nearly unrivaled in the Yinwu dynasty's imperial palace. There was a hint of a smile at the corner of his mouth. He was well aware of the many princes and guests below. The ancient Yin Emperor tomb is reopening. Many thanks to all the outstanding talents who came from afar to help my son. This is especially so for my friends from the Demonic Tao Hall, the Underworld God Hall, and the Pirate Alliance. You're really bold. Whoosh! The Yin Emperor's words were like a clap of thunder, setting the place abuzz. A strange look flashed in the eyes of the many demonic Tao Lu's cultivators, the Underworld God Hall cultivators, and the Shu dynasty's outstanding talents. These demonic Tao Lu's cultivators felt that they had hidden themselves sufficiently, carrying shocking treasures. After concealing their demonic chi and mixing in with the prince's guests, they looked no different from ordinary Lu's cultivators. Unexpectedly, they were like child's play before the Yin Emperor. Just as everyone felt uncertain, the Yin Emperor's grave expression vanished. He smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry. This emperor will not make things difficult for you. The ethereal Immortal Palace might appear in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. If I do not let you in, there will be even more trouble. However, now that you have returned to my ancient Yin Emperor tomb, you have to abide by the rules of my Yinwu dynasty. If anyone dares to cause trouble, I guarantee that even if the underworld god appears or the demon master descends, they will not be able to save you." Chapter 2277. When the Yin Emperor suddenly brought this matter out in front of everyone, it caused quite a commotion. After all, the identity of a demonic Tao cultivator was very sensitive. However, the imperial capital Yin City was the #1 city in the world. It could be said to be the center of the entire Great Thousand Realms. Although the Tianwu dynasty and the Shinwu dynasty were stronger, they were not as open as the Yinwu dynasty due to the restrictions of the Universe Origin sect and the profound Heaven Holy Land. Even if one ran into a demonic Tao cultivator in the imperial capital Yin City, it would not cause much of a surprise. In every succession race, demonic Tao cultivators would participate. This was something that everyone had a tacit understanding about. Strictly speaking, Xiao Chan was also considered half a demonic Tao martial artist, so it would be difficult to investigate this matter. The dynasty turned a blind eye to this. After all, these demonic Tao cultivators would not dare to cause a ruckus. They all knew their limits and wouldn't go overboard. But this time, it was a little unusual. The battle for the crown prince had involved the emergence of the Immortal Palace, which had attracted the attention of too many demonic forces. Nearly all of the 8 super factions had come. The number of demonic Tao cultivators far surpassed that of previous demonic Tao cultivators. The Yin Emperor's words were directed at the demonic Divine Hall and the Underworld God Hall. In other words, Xiao Chan wanted to intimidate the Universe Origin sect and the other super factions. In the end, this place is the territory of my Yinwu dynasty. All of you have great backgrounds and cannot be offended. But don't go overboard. Don't think that I don't know about your existence. On the royal platform, Xiao Chan softly said, Ninth prince, it seems that you are worrying too much. Doubt flashed in Wang Yan's eyes. After some thought, he said, I thought that Imperial Father did not know about Big Brother's collusion with the demonic creature dynasty. It looks like everything is within his grasp. However, why is that? The other party is a great enemy of my Blood Moon dynasty. The Heavenly Book scholar explained, Your Highness, this matter involves the appearance of the ethereal Immortal Palace, the only transcendent grade soul tool in the world. If the Yin Emperor chased the people of the Underworld God Hall and the Demonic God Hall out, the Yin Emperor would definitely be killed. The other party definitely won't let this go. What do you think will happen then? Wang Yin was not stupid. He quickly understood. At that time, the succession race will not continue. The faux god experts of the Underworld God Hall and the Shuo dynasty might personally charge over and attack the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The other super forces will definitely try to take advantage of the crisis and disrupt the situation. Thinking of this, Wang Yin felt a chill run down his spine. At that time, he could already foresee a calamity. The foundation of the entire Yinwu dynasty might be shaken. The Heavenly Book scholar nodded and said, That's right. Hence, rather than blocking it, it is better to release it. The current situation is actually the best. Xiao Chen admired the Yin Emperor. The Yin Emperor's boldness and vision were indeed extraordinary. The Ninth Prince was still a bit young. He spent most of his time outside, and the world in his eyes was either black or white. Today's events had taught him a thing or two about the structure of an emperor. After some words, the Yin Emperor stood in the air and announced loudly, The fight for the slots begins now. Draw your swords. After speaking, the Yin Emperor's figure disappeared. Clang! Following that, an endless chain of clangs rang out on the surrounding royal platforms. These were the sounds of swords being drawn. The princes all had a Yin Imperial sword replica. Although they were replicas, they were connected to the original. At a critical moment, they could even summon out the original Yin Imperial sword to support them. This was an extremely special soul tool. What was even more special was that each Yin Imperial sword replica contained a different Tao of each prince. For example, the Ninth Prince frequently guarded the borders, fighting enemies and killing demons. What he obtained was the Massacre Tao. When the succession race ended, there would be only one replica Yin Imperial sword. This replica Yin Imperial sword would carry its own Tao and receive the inheritance, becoming the supreme new holy sword, ruling the Yinwu dynasty. Clang! Wang Yin drew the Yin Imperial sword in his hand and turned into a flash of light. The Yin Imperial sword stabbed into the front of the royal platform. The dragon luck contained in the sword turned solid, turning into a 30-meter-long dragon image coiling around the royal platform. Immediately, dragons fought in the sky above the drill ground. The dragons roared ferociously, and dragon might spread out, covering the sky and sun. Clouds churned above the royal palace, and mysterious phenomena appeared. When looking around, the first prince had the strongest dragon luck above his royal platform. That dragon image was 63 meters long. As it coiled around the royal platform, it did not look angry or angry. However, it exuded might without being angry, shocking the surroundings and showing the air of an expert. Next were the 8th Prince Wang Feng and the 13th Prince Wang Yi. These two dragon images were 63 meters long. As their dragon images swayed, they continuously challenged the dragon image above the first prince's royal platform. The competition went without saying. Most of the other princes were like the 9th prince, with 30-meter-long dragon images. Only a few princes had much weaker dragon luck, which was exceptionally obvious in this competition. If nothing unexpected happened, these princes with weaker dragon luck would be the targets of the strong dragons. In the competition for slots, these princes would definitely be targeted by others, making them their priority opponents. How surprising to think that the 9th prince's dragon image is 23 meters long. When did his dragon luck become so strong? That's right. The 9th prince's presence has always been weak, and he clearly has no intention of competing. His accumulations are actually quite deep. However, that is all. The truly strong ones are still the 1st prince, the 8th prince, and the 13th prince. A strong dragon luck is indeed extraordinary, far surpassing that of the other princes. Did you notice the 6th prince Wang Ming? Although his dragon image looks small, in reality, it spun around a few times. In reality, it is at least 13 meters long. This person really hid his strength deeply. If you hadn't mentioned it, I would not have noticed it. This 6th prince really does not reveal himself. It is fine if he does not do anything, but he wants to shock the world with a single brilliant feat. Quick look, the competition for slots is starting. The 8th prince is the first to challenge the 19th prince. The powerhouses in the palace and the clouds that had noticed the 6th prince Wang Ming all turned their heads to look. The 8th prince Wang Feng was the first to send out a guest to challenge the 19th prince. The 19th prince's dragon image was only 23 meters long. Clearly, he could not send out a strong guest. The 19th prince smiled bitterly and said helplessly, "I did not even intend to fight for the throne. I just wanted to try my luck in the ancient imperial tomb. To think that I would not let this off." The 19th prince did not choose to resist fearlessly. He directly gave up, letting the other party win. It was not that the 19th prince did not want to accept the challenge, but that he wanted to keep a strong guest to fight the other princes. This was because the 19th prince clearly could not compete with the strong 8th prince. There was no need for him to waste his effort. The 8th prince's victory, easily obtaining a slot. This immediately set off the horn for the competition for slots. A somewhat chaotic challenge took place in the arenas of the drill ground at the same time. There was an arena in front of each king's platform. If the other party wanted to fight, they would have to fight. If the other party wanted to challenge them, they just needed to jump into the arena and raise their prince's banner. The rules were simple and clear. Senior Feng, should we take the initiative to challenge, or wait for the others to challenge us? Wang Yin asked Senior Feng, the oldest of his guests. This Senior Feng was an expert of the military, possessing deep cultivation and rich experience. Senior Feng looked around and replied, "Our accumulations are slightly weaker. It is best not to take the initiative to expose ourselves. Let's wait for the others to challenge us." "Senior Hao Kai, what do you think?" Wang Yin looked around and fixed his gaze on the Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai. Hao Kai's cultivation was about the same as Senior Feng's. They were both great perfection, 5-vein sovereign emperors who possessed the Golden Crow bloodline. Not to mention experience, their combat prowess was even stronger. "I have no objections. I will follow your highness's instructions." Wang Yin then asked Xiao Chun and the Heavenly Book Scholar. The two indicated that they did not need to take the initiative to challenge, so they listened to everyone's opinion. "He's here." Xiao Chun looked around and saw a banner land on the arena in front of the royal platform. "This humble one is Duanmu Huanghun. I am here on the 4th prince's orders to challenge the 9th prince for a slot." The person who came was dressed in embroidered clothes and looked like a middle-aged man. His tone did not show any sharpness, but he was a 4-vein great perfection sovereign emperor. Wang Yin smiled faintly and said, "So, it is an expert from the Duanmu clan, who is willing to fight. I'll do it." Xiao Suo took the lead and stepped forward, requesting to fight Wang Yin. This humble one is willing to fight as well and help the 9th prince take down this person. Another youth among Wang Yan's guests stepped forward. A sharp light flashed on his face, radiating a strong fighting spirit. This person's name was Jin Mingxiu. He was an extraordinary person that Wang Yin had taken the initiative to recruit with the help of the Misty Rain Pavilion's resources. Su Yi had personally recommended him. Wang Yin smiled softly and said, "Mingxiu, don't be impatient. Since Captain Xiao spoke first, let Captain Xiao fight this battle." Jin Mingxiu felt somewhat unconvinced, but he still obeyed and stepped back. Whoosh! Xiao Suo's figure flashed, and he landed heavily on the arena. Then, he looked at the other party calmly. Doubt flashed in Duanmu Huanghuan's eyes. He had thought that the other party would send Senior Feng or Hao Kai. At the very least, it would be the famous Xiao Chun in the imperial capital. Unexpectedly, the 9th prince underestimated him so much, sending a 3-vein sovereign emperor, nameless person. It looks like the ninth prince does not have any desire to compete. In that case, I will accept this slot. Seeing that his opponent was not Xiao Chun, senior Feng, or Hao Kai, Duanmu Huanghuan's reserved and senior attitude vanished, replaced with arrogance. Xiao Sua's lips curled up in a smile. Shocking waves surged, and a sea of blood surged. Xiao Sua, who looked experienced and steady, did not show any sharpness, but his emperor's might soared. A scarlet mark on Xiao Sua's forehead released a dazzling light. With a wave of Xiao Sua's hand, the Scarlet Blood War banner appeared. Without saying anything, Xiao Sua charged over with a berserk and bloodthirsty aura. Duanmu Huanghan felt greatly startled. He had not expected a nameless person to be so tyrannical. By the time Duanmu Huanghan startled to his senses, the Scarlet Blood War banner had already swept over. Pa! 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 The Scarlet War banner moved up and down like waves, unleashing an unending stream of energy. Duanmu Huanghan sent out 3 palm strikes. With each palm strike, he scattered a wave of energy. However, the waves piled on top of one another. The attacks contained in the Scarlet Blood War banner surged endlessly. The Scarlet Blood Pirate King's legacy brought back the glory of the past in Xiao Sua's hands. After 10 moves, Duanmu Huanghan retreated to the edge of the arena, unable to retreat any further. Just as Duanmu Huanghan was about to take out his life soul tool and fight to the death, Xiao Sua shouted. The sea of blood surged as he stood on top of the waves. He gently waved the war banner, making it look like a spear as he thrust it down from above. Bang! 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 The light waves that Duanmu Huanghan formed with his great Dao energy shattered layer by layer. The Scarlet Blood War banner easily broke through all his defenses. I admit defeat. Seeing Xiao Sua's berserk aura slowly approach, Duanmu Huanghan felt horrified. Duanmu Huanghan felt that if he continued fighting, he would definitely lose. Furthermore, he would suffer severe injuries, so he quickly admitted defeat. Thank you for letting me win. After defeating his opponent in 10 moves, Xiao Sua put away the 4th prince's royal banner and returned to the royal platform. Good. Wang Yin praised Xiao Sua with joy in his eyes filled with excitement. In this battle, Xiao Sua helped Wang Yin show his sharpness. No one dared to underestimate him anymore. Chapter 2278. Defeat the enemy in 10 moves, seize the flag, and leave. The 10 moves seemed simple, but only Duanmu Huanghan knew what kind of pressure he was facing. The arena was a small world with a universe within it. It was incredibly vast, suitable for sovereign emperors to fight. Duanmu Huanghan had no choice but to admit defeat before he could unleash his aura. However, he wholeheartedly accepted his loss and had no complaints. It was very difficult for others to understand the terrifying, baleful aura on Xiao Sua's body, as well as the oppressive, domineering aura when he leaped up and descended from the sky. The aura that Xiao Qin showed was nothing like that of a 3-vein sovereign emperor. The flag in your hand is the Scarlet Blood War banner that the legendary pirate king left behind. Duanmu Huanghan asked Xiao Sua, who was already standing on the royal platform, a little disgruntled. This was because he also had an inferior grade soul tool artifact in his possession, but he had been too careless to summon it at the start. If he had taken out his life-bound armament right from the start, he might have had a 50% chance of winning. However, if the other party really had the Scarlet Blood War banner, then there would be no point in taking out his life soul tool. Good eyesight. Xiao Sua did not comment, which could be considered as an answer. After Duanmu Huanghan heard this, the unwillingness in his eyes dissipated. He knew that he had no chance at all. Even if he had taken out his life-bound artifact from the start, the result would still have been the same, just that he wouldn't have lost so badly. Because of Xiao Qin's existence, no matter how low-key the ninth prince was, he would still attract a lot of attention. This clean and efficient battle, in which he defeated his opponent in 10 moves, immediately caused a sensation. It is actually the Scarlet Blood War banner. Good fella, no wonder the ninth prince's luck is 9 zhong long. He has been hiding it well. With the Scarlet Blood War banner in hand, It is not hard to understand why a three-veined sovereign emperor could defeat a great perfection sovereign emperor. Above the clouds in the palace, when the Yin Emperor saw the ninth prince's performance, his eyes lit up. He smiled at the people beside him and said, "Ninth brother is not bad. Aside from Xiao Chun, you managed to recruit such a guest." The imperial clan elders around him were also surprised and kept an eye on the ninth prince. On the royal platform, the ninth prince smiled and said, "Well done, Xiao Su." Xiao Suo remained unfazed. He said humbly, "It is just the advantage of the spirit weapon in my hand." Ninth prince is overpraising me. The heavenly book scholar smiled faintly and said, "Captain Xiao is being humble. The Scarlet Blood War banner cannot shine in anyone's hands." After the Scarlet Blood Pirate King died, this war banner went through at least 3 owners. However, none of them could bring out its wondrous effects, rendering it useless. Hence, it was slowly lost. The guests on the fourth prince's royal platform of the Geo all showed unhappy expressions. But, by doing, Xiao Shi, of people of Dukes won. The fourth prince Wang Li, on the other hand, had a thoughtful expression on his face. He seemed to be indifferent to the loss of the quota. Wang and of Wang the Wang of Wang Wang of Wang of and Wang of and of Lord into the two and in of ninth brother, you really hid yourself deeply. Wang Feng looked at the ninth prince's royal platform and thought to himself, after entering the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, I have to keep my guard up against ninth brother. I cannot underestimate him. Eighth prince, do you need me to get someone to help you suppress the ninth prince's arrogance? The profound heaven's holy son, Wen Yu, asked softly with a faint smile. Aside from him, the strongest true inheritors of the profound heaven-holy land, Gu Yuhan and Mu Yunju, stood on Wen Yu's left and right. These two were no longer the same as before. Their strength had improved significantly. Wang Feng thought for a while before replying calmly, "There's no need. I have not fallen out with him yet. I will not offend him if I can. Hey!" As Wang Feng spoke, he shifted his gaze to the first prince Wang Yan. "I am the Heavenly Wolf Empire's Tuoba Yao. On the 13th prince's orders, I am here to ask for a spot from the first prince. The outstanding talent of the Heavenly Wolf Empire, one of the 8 great empires, Tuoba Yao, pointed his royal banner at Wang Fei. Right after Tuoba Yao spoke, the entire place fell silent. Nearly everyone turned their gazes over. Wang Feng smiled and said, "Little 13 is really bold. However, it is good for him to test you. Let's see how many trump cards Big Brother has. I really want to know if he is just bluffing or not." Although the first prince's royal platform had a strong luck, it was very stable, low-key, and reserved. When the competition for spots started, the first prince had not taken the initiative to fight, and no one dared to take the initiative to mock him. However, now, someone finally could not hold back and made a move against him. The Tuoba Yao on the arena had a head of purple hair, a muscular body, and slightly tanned skin. He radiated the wildness of a wolf, and lightning flickered in his eyes. When he smiled, he looked very wild. Humph! Wang Fei showed a sullen expression as he tightly grabbed the armrest. Then, he said coldly, taking advantage of others, the left-eyed man hidden in the shadows behind Wang Fei said calmly, "First prince, please calm down. It is not Commander Zhu's turn to make a move on such a clown. Which one of you is willing to make a move and help the first prince gain face?" A man clad in black, shrouded in bloody shadows, stepped forward. This person looked at Ming Xian as if seeking his opinion. Ming Xian nodded slightly and did not say anything. "Lord Shi, let me do it." "Oh, Mr. Gong is willing to make a move. In that case, victory is certain." The black-clad man with the mysterious left, I seem to be interested in this person shrouded in bloody shadows. Whoosh! The figure of this person shrouded in bloody shadows flashed, and he landed on the arena. Then, he looked at Tuoba Yao and said, "I will be your opponent in this match." Tuoba Yao frowned slightly and asked coldly, "Hiding your head but showing your tail?" Who are you? The voice of the person shrouded in bloody shadows was somewhat hoarse as he replied indifferently, "The person who will defeat you." Boom! Right after the person spoke, countless blood-sucking vines leaped out of the ground like venomous snakes. These blood-sucking vines soared into the air, leaving behind many scarlet shadows as they charged at Tuoba Yao. The speed of these blood-sucking vines was flabbergasting. What was even more horrifying was that these blood-sucking vines seemed to be alive, reproducing at every moment. In almost a moment, the vines had covered the entire small world, and the vast space in the arena was completely covered by vines. This was already a special field that resembled a small world. Horror flashed in everyone's eyes when they saw this scene. Normally, such a special field only appeared in strong, ferocious beasts and rarely appeared in cultivators. It looked like the blood-sucking vines would form a barrier isolating Tuoba Yao from the world. A strange look flashed in Tuoba Yao's eyes as he said, "Insignificant tricks. I'll defeat you in one move." A golden light flashed in Tuoba Yao's eyes. He activated his great desolate Ian bloodline. Tuoba Yao's aura soared as he roared, causing thunderclouds to churn. In that instant, a startling Tao might erupted from his body. With the support of his great desolate Ian bloodline, Tuoba Yao's thunder, Tao domain, reached peak 5th layer. Electric light flashed all over Tuoba Yao's body. His great desolate Ian bloodline was indeed extraordinary. The Emperor's might coming from Tuoba Yao was vaguely stronger than that of a four-vein sovereign emperor. "You are still too inexperienced to play lightning with me." The mysterious man, shrouded in bloody shadows, smiled coldly. Scarlet electric light suddenly burst out of his body as scarlet vines shot out. Each vine gave off electric light that looked like scarlet flames. The strange scarlet electric light instantly suppressed Tuoba Yao's seemingly unblockable 5th layer thunder Tao domain. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Thousands of blood-sucking vines surged out like venomous snakes, breaking through Tuoba Yao's Tao domain and biting him. Ah! A sharp, miserable scream immediately rang out in the Yanwu arena. Tuoba Yao knelt on the ground and howled in pain. His cries were extremely tragic, making everyone tremble in fear. Xiao Qin showed a grave expression. He saw something even more horrifying. Those blood-sucking vines seemed to be absorbing this person's bloodline power. After the blood-sucking vines passed, the scarlet flame lightning on the mysterious man, shrouded in bloody shadows, turned even stranger. "I admit defeat." Tuoba Yao said these 3 words with some difficulty. These 3 words seemed to exhaust all his vital qi. Plop! The instant the blood-sucking vines returned, Tuoba Yao knelt on the ground with a plop. Tuoba Yao appeared dispirited, no longer showing any of his initial sharpness or wildness. He looked like a completely different person, losing most of his energy. The entire place fell deathly silent. Horror filled everyone's eyes. This mysterious man, shrouded in bloody shadows, was too scary. It was not that he was terrifyingly strong. It was just that his secret techniques were so evil that they inspired fear. Be it the small world-like blood-sucking vines domain, the scarlet flame lightning, or the final blood-sucking demonic vines, they were all incredible and horrifying. The mysterious man, shrouded in bloody shadows attack, showed everyone how terrifying the first prince was. He truly lived up to his 60-meter-long luck. The disguised Yin Songming, who was behind the 6th Prince Wang Li, sighed softly. The Black Lotus Holy Son and the Azure Lotus Holy Daughter have not made a move yet, not to mention that person. The demonic Dao Hall's strength is still unfathomable. "What's wrong, young Master Yin? You do not seem confident enough?" Wang Li asked softly with a slight frown. Yin Songming replied indifferently, "You have not seen how horrifying that person is. The mysterious man shrouded in bloody shadows inspires fear, but he inspires despair." Chapter 2279. At the 9th Prince's royal platform, Wang Yin asked, "Everyone, what do you think?" "Good. Everyone is here. As for the guests who have not arrived, Listen to me first before taking action. In the first round of the succession race, you need to collect dragon essence. You can enter the second round only after collecting enough dragon essence. The dragon essence you collect will eventually gather in my yin imperial sword and increase my dragon essence. After a while, the drill ground gave off a bright light, and a Dao platform slowly rose. Xiao Chun moved like a swallow as he soared into the air and landed firmly on the ground. The Heavenly Wolf Empire's guests showed awkward expressions. No one said anything for a long time. Just at this moment, the Ninth Prince's voice rang out in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness. Wang Ming revealed a contemplative expression. Then, he said indifferently, "I hope it is as you wish." There's also a boundless pressure of the great desolate Yin spreading out everywhere. This ancient aura had never been so clear before. Xiao Chun took out a jade strip, which gave off a faint light. When he held it in his hand, it dispelled the chill. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chun chose to stay behind, not rushing to meet up with the Ninth Prince for now. There was no one in the surroundings. Sikong Shu said indifferently, 13th Prince, don't get anxious. At the very least, we managed to probe the first prince's strength. This person did not lose much of his accumulations because of the wedding. This might be a good thing for us. Xiao Chen seemed like he woke up from a dream. After a pause, he said, let's do our best and leave it to fate. Now that he has revealed his sharpness, we should not be the ones worried. Rather, it should be the 8th Prince and the 13th Prince. This is definitely a good thing for us. Xiao Chun held the jade stripped to his forehead, and a 3D map appeared in his mind, a rough map of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. As for the strong princes, the dragon essence around their Yin imperial swords had increased significantly. If Xiao Chun saw right, that figure should be Jiang He, who had not shown himself for a long time. However, how did he become the first prince's guest? The Heavenly Book scholar nodded and said, that's right. Our strength is not as simple as it looks. After entering the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, the Heavenly Book scholar would bring out its true potential. Before the first prince was defeated, the two of them would not attack each other. It could be considered a simple alliance. Everything was done in silence. Wang Yin seemed to think of something. He said seriously, I'll say one more thing. This place has existed since the ancient immemorial era. If there's enough dragon essence in the jade strip, you'll be able to better adapt to this place and display your full strength. All right, I'll stop here. The strong became stronger, and the weak became weaker. There was one more thing that Yin Tsangming did not say in his heart. If there was one person who could make others feel despair, then Yin Tsangming was despair itself. The man shrouded in blood instills fear in people, but that person instills despair in people. This is the strength of the Heavenly Wolf Empire's elites. Heavy snow swirled in the air, strong winds howled, and the cold wave was so fierce that it made people shiver. As they were speaking, Wang Yi felt a gaze on him. He turned his head and saw that it was the 8th Prince, Wang Feng. Everyone, don't panic. The competition for slots proceeded in an orderly fashion under the Heavenly Book scholar's suggestions. Wang Yin stretched out his hand and sheathed the Yin Imperial sword on the ground. Then his 30-meter-long dragon essence turned into a flash of golden light and vanished. As the 10,000 dragons art circulated in Xiao Chen's body, dragon images shone in his divine energy sea. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chun did not feel much spatial pressure. After Xiao Chun and the Heavenly Book scholar spoke, the 9th Prince's guests calmed down. Standing at the top of a snowy mound, Xiao Chun opened his heavenly eye and saw the scene within 50,000 kilometers. The others expressed their opinions one after another, worrying about the first prince's strength. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. It looks like the 9th Prince can forcefully pull people to his side. This is probably a form of protection. Xiao Chun analyzed in his heart. This Yin Emperor is rather special. He is exceptionally skilled in the Ice Great Tao, resulting in heavy snow and cold qi everywhere his inheritance covers. However, I can't push my luck. I'm pretty lucky. At the very least, I'm pretty close to the inheritance. Senior Feng sighed softly. He is unfathomable. There are several auras on the first prince's platform that make this old man feel fear. I can sense that the person shrouded in bloody shadows is definitely not the first prince's strongest guest. Feeling confused, Xiao Chen asked, "Dragon essence?" After entering the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, you'll be randomly sent to the periphery of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. There will not be any danger for now. If you want to meet up with me, you can send a message to me through the jade strip that I gave you. Such a change relieved Xiao Chun of a significant amount of pressure. The so-called dragon essence can be understood as the materialization of dragon essence. This place contains the dynasty's dragon vein's ancestor vein. The ferocious beasts born here and the inheritances left by the previous Yin Emperor all contain dragon essence. The treasures and soul tools in the inheritances also contain dragon essence. Everyone can keep these treasures and soul tools for yourselves. Just remember to store the dragon essence in your jade strip. Me? After the blue dragon bloodline in Xiao Chen's body merged with this aura, it appeared excited, raring to give a try. The Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai said, "I feel the same." The competition for slots came to an end. The ancient Yin Emperor tomb's inheritances were left behind by the previous Yin Emperors after they died. The inheritances varied according to the cultivation techniques they cultivated. After observing for a while, Xiao Chun had a rough idea of where he was in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The ancient Yin Emperor tomb was about to open. These simple words could be considered a vow before leaving. Senior Feng, Senior Hao Kai, and Changji, make some preparations. I will use the Yin Imperial Sword to send you to my side. As for the others, if you want to, you can move alone or come to my side. Just send a message. Some people rejoiced, while others worried. The dragon essence of the originally weak princes weakened significantly. In the following 2 matches, the 9th prince purposely lost 1 match before winning the 3rd. The ancient Yin Emperor tomb is about to open. Princes, please lead the guests in according to the order of the royal platform. That is whoosh. The Yin Emperor's voice rang out in the sky. In the next moment, the first prince soared into the air. He brought along a large number of guests and entered the Taoist gate in a single file. The first round will last for 1 month. I hope that everyone can help me collect more dragon essence. Otherwise, if I do not have enough dragon essence, I will not be able to compete in the second round. At that time, everyone and I will be forced to leave. Also, if you run into danger, you can shatter this jade strip and leave the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Xiao Chen's eyes were sharp. He seemed to see a familiar figure among the first prince's many guests helplessly entering. According to the map, I should be within the range of the 500th Yin Emperor's inheritance. Wang Yi showed a slightly unsightly expression on the 13th prince's royal platform. The two looked at each other. After a simple exchange of glances, they reached a consensus. When the 6th prince Wang Ming heard that, he felt slightly stunned. After some thought, he said, "Even you feel despair?" There was no time to think. Soon, it was the 9th prince's turn. Since the 9th prince was at the periphery, the inheritance left by this Yin Emperor should not be much of a surprise. The divine energy sea in Xiao Chen's body surged, materializing many golden dragon images and wildly absorbing the great desolate Yin aura. Jianghe? As Xiao Chen held the jade strip, he muttered to himself, "Spatial pressure?" Before coming here, Wang Yin had given every guest a jade strip. At that time, he did not mention its use. Boom! When Xiao Chen opened his eyes, he found himself in the vast, snowy region. Clang! However, holding the jade strip helped Xiao Chen reduce the chill significantly. A bright light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. Then, he said, "Since that is the case, I have to monopolize this inheritance. Treasures and soul tools could be kept for myself. No wonder others wanted to enter so badly." The commotion caused by the mysterious man, shrouded in bloody shadows, was significant. The battles in the other arenas immediately paled in comparison. I will definitely do my best. This place was indeed somewhat strange. His movement technique and cultivation all suffered restrictions. Even the range of his heavenly eye significantly shrank. Boom! Many thanks to everyone this time. We are about to enter the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. I hope that everyone can work together and help me. Lord Shao, what about you? Everyone soared into the air and entered the door of light one after another. Light and shadow turned blurry, and space and time changed. The ninth prince's voice rang out again, clearing up Shao Chen's doubts and filling him with anticipation for the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. After putting down the jade strip, Shao Chun looked around before soaring into the air. Before Yin Songming said anything, Zheng Yuan, who was at the side, said softly, "Sixth Prince, there is no need to worry. The strongest might not necessarily be the winner in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. There are many variables that no one can predict. Otherwise, we would not have made this trip." Wang Yi's eyes flickered. After a while, he smiled and said, "That's true. I believe that eighth brother does not feel good in his heart right now." In that instant, it felt like countless chains shattered. Now, Shao Chun did feel significant pressure. What was even more wondrous was that the 10,000 Dragons art could no longer be controlled by Shao Chun, circulating on its own. Whoosh! Chapter 2280. The vast snowy region only spanned a few 100,000 kilometers at the very most. Sovereign emperors could traverse such a distance in a few breaths. If they sent out their soul energy, they could see every movement in the entire snowy region. However, this was the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, a world that had not changed since the ancient immemorial era. The great desolate Aeon's aura had never appeared before everyone so clearly before. Even Shao Chen's divine skill, the heavenly eye, was limited to 50,000 kilometers. This showed how horrifying the pressure from the great desolate Aeon was. Fortunately, for some reason, Shao Chen's 10,000 Dragons art was exceptionally active in this place. Without needing to think about it, it circulated freely, greedily absorbing the great desolate Aeon aura in the air. It vaguely showed signs of breaking through the second shackle at any moment. This place is a treasure land for cultivators with great desolate Aeon bloodlines. Shao Chun entered deep thought, muttering to himself. This went without saying for Shao Chun, who possessed the 10,000 Dragons art. However, the pressure still existed, making it somewhat inconvenient for his movement technique. Traveling like this still drains a lot of energy. Shao Chun sighed as snow drifted over him. This place was too cold, making it hard to melt the accumulated snow. The coldness contained in the snow could be considered cold poison. This was not too harmful to a sovereign emperor's body. However, it took a lot of effort to disperse it. Coupled with the consumption of divine essence while sprinting, it somewhat made people feel restrained and restrained. Boom! A red light flashed as Shao Chun summoned out the demon blood vulture. Now, the demon blood vulture's bloodline had reverted to its ancestors, showing some signs of a blood phoenix. How much of your strength can you bring out in this ancient Yin Emperor tomb? 80%. As a mutated beast with a great desolate Aeon ferocious beast bloodline, the demon blood vulture could adapt much better than human cultivators. That's enough. Shao Chun gently pushed off with his feet and sat on the demon blood vulture's back, using it as a form of transportation as he flew through the snowy region. The demon blood vulture flew close to the ground, not daring to fly too high. Firstly, there was the spatial pressure. Secondly, it would be easy to become a target if it flew too high. All of the ferocious beasts here possessed dragon essence. If they were noticed, their eyes would light up and they would immediately want to kill them and steal their dragon essence. Help me find the inheritance. If you find anything suspicious, remember to remind me. Snow swirled in the air, blanketing the sky and the ground in whiteness. It would not be easy to find the inheritance left behind by the Yin Emperor, who was skilled in ice and snow. Fortunately, with the demon blood vulture's help, Shao Chun felt relaxed. He closed his eyes and cultivated on the demon blood vulture's back. Although he was multitasking, it did not delay his search for the inheritance. At the same time, the other princes gradually entered the Yin Huang ancient forest. However, the places they appeared in were all different. They could appear in an ancient pine forest, a wild plain, or a rocky desert. In the middle of a yellow desert, a sandstorm was blowing wildly. After the first Prince Wang Fei landed, he frowned slightly. Without saying anything, he directly drew his Yin Imperial Sword. In the next moment, the Yin Imperial Sword gave off a bright light, and dragon images circled it. So. The mysterious black-clad man with the left eye, the Imperial Ancestral Temple's trump card, the six-veined Sovereign Emperor's Wu, the Black Lotus Holy Son, and the Azure Lotus Holy Daughter appeared one after another. The other guests chose to act alone, searching for the inheritance or hunting ferocious beasts. The Black Lotus Holy Son said softly, "This is just the first round. Your Highness, there is no need to waste your dragon luck to summon us." Wang Fei replied indifferently, "Naturally, I am confident of clearing the first round. However, I sent you here for another reason. I know of a superior great inheritance of the previous Yin Emperor. I called you here to ensure that nothing goes wrong." Originally, the inheritances left by the previous Yin Emperors were not graded. However, there were strong and weak Yin Emperors. The inheritances they left varied in value and value. Gradually, the later generations added a grade to the inheritances, using this to distinguish the quality and rarity of the inheritances. The Imperial Ancestral Temple had a better understanding of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb and could provide the first prince with more information. A superior grade inheritance was considered an extremely incredible inheritance. Naturally, Wang Fei would be interested. "Oh, so that's it. In that case, you can accompany Brother Wang. I will not interfere in this excitement." Even though this person wore a half mask on his left face, revealing his eye, the first prince could still make out a bored expression on his face. Without waiting for Wang Fei to answer, the masked man left without saying goodbye. "How dare you?" Zhuyu frowned slightly. In his opinion, the first prince deserved death for such disrespect. The Black Lotus Holy Son, Ming Xian, said softly, "Your Highness, please calm down. Lord Shi has always been like this. What exactly is the inheritance that the first prince is so interested in? Miss Qing and I will definitely do our best to help." Yang Qing smiled sweetly, looking like a cool breeze. Then, she looked at Wang Fei and said, "Your Highness, please lead the way." Wang Fei smiled coldly in his heart, but he did not show it. He smiled and said, "Commander Zhua, let's go. There is no need to make a fuss over nothing. Lord Shi is an honored guest that I invited. Naturally, an honored guest cannot be treated like an ordinary person." The many princes' guests started moving around the ancient Yin Emperor tomb's periphery. In an ancient pine forest, the fourth prince Wang Yun drew his Yin Imperial Sword and gathered a few important guests to his side. One of them wore a hood and wrapped himself up tightly. This was the Hidden Spirit Temple's Yuan Zhen. Wang Yun looked at Yuan Zhen and asked respectfully, "Mr. Yuan, what should we do?" The other princes should be focusing on searching for inheritances. However, fourth prince, your accumulations and strength are rather weak. You should not fight with others. If you suffer losses, the gains will not make up for the losses. Just obediently hunt ferocious beasts and collect dragon essence. We can talk about this after this round. A hoarse voice came from the hood, making people feel a little uncomfortable. The other guests felt somewhat upset. What was the point of coming to the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, if not to search for inheritances? The fourth prince Wang Yin already made up his mind about Yuan Zhen's words. After some thought, he said, "Let's do as Mr. Yuan says. Everyone, hunt ferocious beasts and collect dragon essence. I will definitely reward you generously after this. Furthermore, hunting ferocious beasts does not mean that you will not run into any treasures. Everything is possible in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb." After Wang Yun said that, the other guests' resentment subsided slightly. Yuan Zhen kept a low profile in this round, not showing any intention of exposing himself. "Good. Heaven is really helping me." The White Marsh Beast Empires by Yun Fei, who was on the 13th prince's side, appeared extremely excited. After some thought, he said, "This place is simply the best for cultivators with great desolate Yin bloodlines like us." Wang Yi revealed a smile. He was somewhat surprised as well. The great desolate Yin aura of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb was even more horrifying than the legends made it out to be. Aside from the two royal court experts, the rest of Wang Yi's 18 guests were sovereign emperors from the Bushan Palace. Senior Sikong, what should we do in this round? Sikong Shu, who was dressed like a fisherman in a straw raincoat, appeared exceptionally calm. After some thought, he said, "We will split into 3 groups. We have the greatest advantage in the first round. We will take as many inheritances as we can. There is no need to waste inheritances. If we can raise our strength, we will refine them on the spot and not delay. After some time, most of them will adapt to the spatial pressure here. The advantage of their bloodlines will not remain much. Hence, we have to use our advantage in the first month to gain an even greater advantage." Wang Yi's eyes lit up. He smiled and said, "With Senior around, it is like having a treasure. All right, we will follow Senior's instructions. We will split into 3 groups in this round. We will take as many inheritances as we can." Everyone knew that unless one hunted extremely horrifying ferocious beasts, it would be hard to collect enough dragon essence. Even if one hunted strong, ferocious beasts, it would be a thankless task. Clearly, searching for inheritances was killing many birds with one stone, benefiting both sides. Aside from some of the more special princes, the other princes and their guests were all searching for inheritances. The many imperial ancestral temple elders on the Tao platform at the palace's drill ground made their moves together. A huge light screen rose up and flickered, showing the many princes and guests in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The ancient Yin Emperor tomb had been remodeled several times. Although there were still many forbidden lands, the imperial ancestral temple already had a rough grasp of the place. As long as the imperial ancestral temple elders wanted to, they could see the situation everywhere at any time. However, it would be somewhat difficult to interfere. The big show had officially begun. Snow fell heavily. 3 days had already passed in the vast snowy region. However, the demon blood vulture had not found anything. On the demon blood vulture's back, Xiao Chun, who was cultivating the 10,000 dragons art, opened his eyes. The night wind and snow were cold. It was hard to find anyone, and the signs of life were faint. When Xiao Chun looked up, he saw churning clouds. He could not see the sun, the moon, or the stars, only the vast snow. Could this inheritance have been destroyed? After 3 days without any results, Xiao Chun felt suspicious. Such a guess was possible. After all, it was at the periphery of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. In every succession race, the ancient Yin Emperor tomb would be the first to bear the brunt of the impact. It was not impossible for the succession race to be destroyed. Just at this moment, the heavy snow weakened and the thick clouds in the sky slowly thinned. In the middle of the night, the thick clouds scattered and a bright moon silently appeared. The bright moon hung high in the sky, looking as gentle as fire. Xiao Chun had never expected the bright moon to be this bright. The continuous heavy snow seemed to wash away all the brilliance of the bright moon. In the air, there was still snow falling sparsely. Under the illumination of the moonlight, the remnant snow in the air and the boundless white snowy land gave off a mottled light. The clouds parted, the moon came, and the remnant flowers made shadows. The boundless snowy region created a wondrous scene. Xiao Chun muttered to himself as he sat on the demon blood vulture and admired this beautiful scene. Will this be the opportunity one am waiting for? Chapter 2281. The clouds broke, the moon came, and the flowers turned into shadows. Xiao Chun muttered to himself on the demon blood vulture. Perhaps this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. After searching for 3 days in this vast snowy region, he had not found anything. Now that the change was sudden, there had to be something strange about it. That is, Xiao Chun looked to the front. He vaguely saw a dreamy palace bathed in moonlight at the limits of his vision. Without overthinking, Xiao Chun got the demon blood vulture to rush over at full speed. Only scattered snowflakes drifted in the air. The gentle moonlight warmed one's heart like fire. The chill in the night lessened significantly. The originally vast and boundless snowy region which lacked life force, suddenly turned somewhat chaotic. Xiao Chun thought to himself, "It looks like there are many people like me hiding in this snowy region." Suddenly, 3 figures appeared from the left and unexpectedly ran into Xiao Chun. On the demon blood vulture, Xiao Chun showed a calm expression, showing a relaxed gaze. The other 3 felt slightly stunned and kept their guard up. However, when they saw Xiao Chun on the demon blood vulture, their expressions immediately relaxed. Xiao Chun, the oldest of the 3, the gray-clad, middle-aged man, smiled faintly and said softly, "I've heard of you. You were the one who ruined the first prince's wedding. You even fought against the 3 princes in the Smiling Daughter Pavilion by yourself. These 3 were the 10th prince's guests. The 10th prince's strength was below average. On the surface, he looked about the same as the 9th prince. It looks like rumors are just rumors. Even if a 2-veined sovereign emperor can overturn the heavens, how strong can he be?" The gray-clad man originally felt wary, thinking that he had run into a strong enemy. When he saw that it was Xiao Chun, his expression immediately eased up. Xiao Chun looked up. The moonlight turned brighter, and the ancient palace in front slowly became clearer. Under the illumination of the moonlight, the aura of the ice great Tao was hidden under its white exterior. Without needing to guess, he knew that this was the inheritance land. However, it only showed itself under the moonlight. Hence, there were no signs of it during the first 3 days. Xiao Chun looked at the gray-clad man before him, a peak 3-vein sovereign emperor. There were flames hidden in his eyes, and a terrifying power was brewing in his body, giving off a strong sense of oppression. "So," Xiao Chun said lightly, "it's not good to get into a conflict with this person now. I'll decide what to do after I reach the inheritance ground and meet up with the 10th prince." One of the 3, a white-haired old man, secretly transmitted his voice to the gray-robed man. The gray-clothed man's eyes were slightly disappointed. He had a strong desire to fight and wanted to trample on Xiao Chun on the spot. But in the end, he felt that the inheritance was more important, so he endured it for now. Such an attitude was not strange. Xiao Chun was just a 2-vein sovereign emperor, yet he could become famous in the imperial capital. There would always be some people who felt dissatisfied. If he could trample on him, his reputation would become even more prominent. In one's life, fame and fortune were all that mattered. Naturally, those who wanted to fight for it would fight for it. Even sovereign emperors could not avoid it. Count yourself lucky. Let's go. The gray-robed man didn't want to waste his breath on Xiao Chun. With a cold snort, he turned around and left. How boring! Xiao Chun felt speechless. The demon blood vulture he sat on flashed with a red light. In this ancient Yin emperor tomb, Xiao Chun possessed a great desolate Ian bloodline and the 10,000 dragons art. The pressure he faced was 70 to 80% less than the others. Xiao Chun increased his speed slightly. The 3, who were walking in front, heard the sound of wind behind them. When they turned their heads back, they only saw an afterimage left by a flash of scarlet light. When the 3 quickly turned their heads back, they saw Xiao Chun sitting on the demon blood vulture, about to leave their vision. This startled the 3. They had not expected Xiao Chun to be so fast. In the eyes of the person who recalled, Xiao Chun's actions were undoubtedly mocking him, so he immediately felt enraged. "Damn it! How dare you, Xiao Chun? You were acting like a coward earlier. I was not paying attention, and you took advantage of me. Chase after him." The gray-robed man took the lead. His divine energy surged, and his entire body released a fiery light as his figure flashed wildly. However, even after 15 minutes, he still did not see Xiao Chun's figure, which made him feel uncertain. This Xiao Chun must be hiding. The gray-robed man looked around helplessly when he did not see Xiao Chun's figure. Never mind. Since he is hiding, there is no need to fight with him. The white-haired old man and another person rushed over and consoled the gray-robed man when they saw the situation. The gray-robed man took advantage of the situation and said coldly, "Count him lucky. I hope I don't run into him again." The ancient palace looked magnificent under the moonlight, giving off a faint fluorescent light, looking dreamy. However, in front of the palace, there were two ice statues blocking the entrance. The ice statues gave off the aura of a four-vein sovereign emperor. As they connected with the moonlight, they merged into one, deterring rash actions. Not far away, a prince dressed in luxurious clothes looked at the ancient palace with excitement on his face. However, the guest at the side advised softly, "10th Prince, it is best not to act rashly for now. It will not be too late for us to enter after Senior Rome arrives." The 10th Prince nodded. "These two ice statues are somewhat strange. Indeed, we cannot act rashly. Aside from me, the guests of the other princes in this snowy region are all scattered soldiers. When Senior Rome arrives, this ice inheritance will be mine." Whoosh! Right after the 10th Prince spoke, a strong wind blew behind them. The two turned their heads to look and shouted, "Who is it?" Amidst the snowstorm, no one responded. There was only a flash of burning bloodlight, which was like a fleeting glimpse. It was so fast that the two ice sculptures didn't even have time to react. Then, it turned into a scarlet beam of light and entered the palace. The 10th Prince happened to see this scene when he turned around. His expression immediately changed drastically as he roared, "Damn it! Who is so bold to snatch the inheritance that I want?" Seeing that the 10th Prince was about to charge in, the expert at the side quickly supported him and said anxiously, "Your Highness, don't be rash. Those two ice statues are not dead." Whoosh! The eyes of the two ice statues sensed the 10th Prince's figure and flickered with bright light. Two cold intents assaulted the 10th Prince, scaring him into retreating. Inside the palace, Xiao Chun sat on the demon blood vulture's back. He watched coldly as the surrounding ice statues came alive. Then, he leaped down from the air. The instant Xiao Chun landed, he activated his alloy dragon armor, and his aura changed drastically. A sharpness burst forth from his forehead. Dragon motifs adorned his silver armor, and electric light flickered. Xiao Chun reached for the scabbard on his back. Just as the ice statues were about to pounce over, he drew his saber. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the man and the vulture charged madly through the ancient palace, completely unbridled. Xiao Chun swept through everything in his way, not stopping at all. Everywhere he passed, there were all sorts of strange treasures. However, Xiao Chun only glanced at them and did not pay them any more attention. 1 hour later, Xiao Chun charged to the core hall of the ice palace and stopped. Many ice-attributed treasures were casually placed on the surrounding walls. Natural treasures covered the ground. This was simply a dreamy treasure trove. Everything that Xiao Chun wanted could be found here. However, Xiao Chun did not show any wild joy on his face. Along the way, Xiao Chun felt very confused. This inheritance was at the periphery. After the succession race, it should not have been emptied out. At the very least, there should not be such treasures left. It looks like your rationality did not get to your head. Congratulations on passing the test. Whoosh! The ceiling seemed transparent. When one looked up, they could see the bright moon. Under the dazzling light, a middle-aged man dressed in white with an elegant temperament seemed to have descended from moon. When Xiao Chun looked carefully, he found that this person looked somewhat similar to the Yin Emperor. Xiao Chun vaguely guessed that this should be the remnant will of the Yin Emperor who left behind the inheritance. "The treasures on the ground are all fake?" Xiao Chun asked. The white-clad Yin Emperor smiled warmly and replied, "Wrong. They are all real. However, there is only one. It contains the ice inheritance that I left behind. Everyone who comes in has only one chance to choose. As long as one makes the wrong choice, not only will one not obtain any treasures, but one will also be forcefully sent out. This inheritance of mine will also close and await the next opening of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb." Xiao Chun entered deep thought. That is to say, no one has chosen the right one, even after 10,000 years. I have a question. If I choose that supreme treasure containing the inheritance, can I obtain the other treasures? Xiao Chun asked without changing his expression. The white-clad Yin Emperor smiled and said, "You seem very confident. However, you cannot. If you find the right one, you will have two choices. One is the ice inheritance that I left behind, and the other is the other treasures containing dragon essence. Disappointment flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. After some thought, he said, "That is really unfortunate." Right after Xiao Chen spoke, he walked straight to an item. The white-clad Yin Emperor's expression immediately changed slightly. Intense surprise flashed in his eyes. However, this surprise mostly contained a wild joy that he had suppressed for thousands of years. However, Xiao Chen did not even bother looking at the treasures. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand, and a beautiful, blood-red rose by the wall appeared in his palm. The white-clad Yin Emperor asked softly, "How did you guess it? I thought that you would need to think about it for a while before making a decision." The answer was given long ago. After entering this palace, anyone who still needs to think would not be able to guess it. When the white-clad Yin Emperor heard that, he smiled faintly and said, "That's right. The clouds break the moon, and the flowers show the shadows. Only the rose is red in the snow." Xiao Chen's expression did not change as he continued calmly. "If you're not a soulmate, don't enter this door." Ha ha ha. Delightful. Unfortunately, you and I are not in the same era. Otherwise, I would not be so lonely. I should be able to guess your choice. I hope that some of my insights will be useful to you. Outside the ancient palace, the gray-clad man's group finally arrived, panting from exhaustion. 10th Prince, fortunately, we did not let you down. We rushed over at our fastest speed. No one in the entire snowy region should be faster than us. The gray-clad man was incredibly fatigued, but his eyes showed pride. Along the way, he had shaken off the many guests, leaving them in the dust. The 10th Prince showed an embarrassed expression, not saying anything. The person at the side said, "Senior Rome, someone already entered. That person is very mysterious. Aside from a flash of scarlet light, I did not notice anything else." "What?" The gray-clad man's heart immediately trembled like lightning struck him. He cried out hoarsely, "It's Xiao Chen." To think that Xiao Chen did not hide. He went ahead of us. How can this be? "Senior Rome, it is too late. We need to move quickly." The gray-clad man startled awake from his daze. After some thought, he said, Right. Quickly charge in." With the 4 guests gathered, the 10th Prince's confidence soared. With the gray-clad man leading the way, they charged at the 2 statues. Boom! However, all of a sudden, without any warning, the entire ancient palace exploded. Shock waves surged, and the few people went flying. The gray-clad old man bore the brunt of the explosion. Blood trickled down a corner of his lips, and he appeared incredibly pale. After he landed, he tumbled a few times. Chapter 2282. The 10th Prince and the other 3 guests immediately revealed looks of joy in their eyes. They knew very well that this was not the case. They knew very well that this gray-clad man did not erupt with power. Once he did, the surging energy would be like a 10,000-year-old volcano. Even a 4-veined sovereign emperor would not be able to endure it. This punch was called summoning the dragons. However, as the 10th Prince looked at Xiao Chen's unchanging face, he could not help sweating profusely. However, Xiao Chen wore the alloy dragon armor, and his combat prowess soared. He did not intend to hold back at all. The surrounding space fluctuated vaguely, as if many cultivators were about to cross space and arrive. The 10th Prince endured the intense pain and looked up at Xiao Chen, meeting Xiao Chen's arrogant gaze. The 10th Prince felt like a mountain separated the two, and a boundless pressure pressed down on him. Clang! Pa! Just as the 10th Prince felt confused, a beam of red light shot out from the churning dust cloud. After defeating one person with one punch, the 10th Prince's remaining 3 guests could not resist at all. The 10th Prince's bodies trembled, and his internal organs shattered. His divine seal exploded and turned into flowing light. A terrifying saber wound, about 1 centimeter long, appeared on the 10th Prince's chest. Blood spurted out like a fountain. Xiao Chen had at least 100 ways to make the other party take the initiative to give up. The 10th Prince felt very dissatisfied. However, what else could he do if he did not agree? "Let go of me first." On the demon blood vulture's back, Xiao Chen frowned slightly. The 10th prince wanted to gather all his guests to surround and suppress him. Roar! Don't! 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 Damn it! My ice snow inheritance. No one can take it away from me. After thinking hard, the 10th prince thought of the only way to make Xiao Chun let him off. Half. The force that erupted out was indeed startling. To think that it allowed him to block Xiao Chun. The 10th prince goggled, flabbergasted. He showed a stunned expression as he watched Xiao Chun charge over. He actually felt somewhat stupefied as he circulated his energy for the Supreme Dragon Fist, and supported by the 10,000 Dragons picture. Xiao Chun brought out the Heaven Dragon's mysteries to their fullest. The surging fiery energy in Xiao Chen's body was like an erupting volcano. At that time, he would be the first to be eliminated miserably in the eyes of the feudal lords and noble clans' clan heads. The image of a dragon coiled around the sword, and with the support of the draconic luck, the spatial pressure in this area actually weakened significantly. After drawing the tyrant saber, a dazzling saber light flashed out. This completely eclipsed the light of the 10th prince's yin imperial sword. Then, he mercilessly chopped down. If he could choose again, he would definitely not meddle in other people's business. He would just watch Xiao Chun fly away from him. Every prince had their own luck stored in the yin imperial sword. The dragon essence collected by the guests would eventually gather in the prince's yin imperial sword. The emperor essence with the Zhao's dragon. The heaven's dragon spirit's Chen's star. And the spatial pressure even more. The jade strip in his palm was sparkling and translucent, like a peerless piece of jade. The jade strip flowed like a spring, nourishing the image of a dragon. Heaven, Chen dragon, Mu dragon. Xiao Chen to say heaven laying by no. The 10th prince's yin imperial sword had already fallen from his hand. At this moment, he felt so much pain that he could not think. When the 10th prince landed on the ground, he could not get up in time. Just the 2-4 vein sovereign emperor ice sculptures in front of the palace gates showed how horrifying the energy would be when they exploded. The 10th prince thought about the 2-4 vein sovereign emperor ice statues in front of the palace gates. Clang! Boom! I have dragon essence. In the past few days, Senior Roan and the others helped me kill many ferocious beasts in the snowy domain. I managed to collect some dragon essence. If you are willing, I can give them all to you. Many thanks. The 10th prince felt terrified just thinking about it. Such an embarrassing matter was hard to accept. When he thought about how he might be the first person to be eliminated from the succession race, he felt terrified. When Xiao Chun sheathed his saber, moonlight shone on his saber. It looked like clear spring water flowing in the air. This stomp landed on the 10th prince's chest wound, producing an unbearable shriek. Golden dragon images swam in Xiao Chen's divine energy sea. A supreme dragon might spread out from his body. All right, I promise you. Stop him. Stop him. When I gather all the guests, it will be the time of his death. As the 10th prince watched Xiao Chun knock away the gray-clad man with one palm strike and leave without pausing, he raised his eyebrows slightly. Then, he waved his hand and executed the Dragon's Gate's secret technique, Firmament's Rage. A murderous intent burst out from Xiao Chen's forehead. He had already gone far away. The instant the 10th prince let go, he quickly stood up and took out a medicinal pill to consume. Dragon essence was the materialization of the son of heaven's luck. In other words, it was dragon luck. Xiao Chun spread his arms, and his voice spread through the air like a dragon soaring in the sky, appearing elegant and tyrannical. When the 10th prince landed, a scarlet light streaked across the sky and caught him. Then, it turned into a beam of scarlet light and flew away with the wind. Never mind. I can give you 1/5 of the dragon essence in my yin imperial sword, no more than that. 1/4, damn it. 1/3 is fine, right? Horror flashed in the 10th prince's eyes as he shouted anxiously. When the 10th prince transferred half of the dragon essence in his yin imperial sword to Xiao Chen's jade strip, the 30-meter-long dragon image on the 10th prince's sword immediately shrank by half. Don't scram. Just take the initiative to give up. The 10th prince did not give the gray-clad man any space to dodge. Chen did not fear the 10th prince going back on his word, so he waited quietly. A well-preserved ancient palace exploded, and all the restrictions and formations within it collapsed in an instant. The world is unfair, and the evil dragon rules the world. How can one be respected? Luck is not on one's side, and one's life is as fragile as paper. What is supreme? Chen drew his yin imperial sword, and a flash of sword light illuminated the room. Whoosh! What's going on? The gray-clad man bore the brunt of the attack and got blasted into the air, sustaining significant injuries. Boom! Before the gray-clad man could look at Chen smashed him down with a palm strike. Chen, stay behind. Chen withdrew his fist and grasped the scabbard on his back with his right hand. Then, he drew his saber expressionlessly. The gray-clad man on the ground immediately became enraged. The surging energy in his body burst out at full force. Boom! Whoosh! Whoosh! A saber intent burst out like a tsunami, directly shattering the 10th prince's armor. However, there were no ifs in this world. The 10th prince's desire to gather his guests to surround and suppress Chen caused him to experience pain and fear that he had never felt before. The 10th prince wiped the sweat off his forehead, drenching half his sleeves. Half of the sky was dyed red by the raging flames. This sudden burst of power could be said to be vast and mighty. The 10th prince immediately understood that the dragon essence could reduce the spatial pressure. As time passed, the advantage of the great desolate Ian bloodline would vanish. Scram! It's Senior Rome's magma Dao domain. Immediately, thousands of saber wounds appeared on the 10th prince's body. Electric light flickered on every saber wound as they entered his body. They came like flowing water and disappeared like the wind. Vast and mighty dragons wandered the world, entering the sky and the sea. Who was honored? Boom! Chen gently clenched his fist, and warmth filled his entire body. The chill from the snowy region vanished. Imperceptibly, the other retainers of the 10th prince all felt the spatial pressure they were facing suddenly increase sharply. The instant the 10th prince turned around and soared into the air, he left behind a purple electric mark. In the next moment, he appeared in front of the 10th prince out of nowhere. However, on the demon blood vulture's back, Chen sniffed the fragrance of the roses. His expression remained calm, not changing at all. In theory, if a prince did not take the initiative to give up, no one could make him leave. However, the 10th prince now lay at Chen's feet. Clang! The 10th prince fell to the ground. The wound on his chest no longer hurt, but he did not know when the shadow in his heart would disappear. Since entering the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, Chen had not stopped cultivating the 10,000 dragons art. The 10,000 dragons art erupted from the 10th prince's mouth. The remaining 3 guests appeared in front of the 10th prince, trying to help him block Chen's attack. The gray-clad man, who was smashed deep into the snow, screamed like a wolf's, in so much pain that he wanted to die. Of course, Chen could not kill the princes. At the very least, he could not kill the 10th prince. However, letting the 10th prince off so easily was not Chen's style. Chen said calmly, "If you are not willing, I will send you away now." This punch was called Leaderless Dragons. The rage of a great desolate Ian ancestor dragon crossed time and space, descending in all directions. A gigantic hand shot out electric light from its palm. With the support of the Dao domain, the 5-element divine lightning materialized a small world. Chen, the 10th prince, went berserk, feeling extremely dissatisfied. He was the first to arrive at the ice inheritance. The moment he saw it, he had already determined that the ice inheritance belonged to him. This is endless. Chapter 2283. A good show played out in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. A huge light screen in the Imperial Palace's drill ground showed the scenes there. Under the control of the Imperial Ancestral Temple's Imperial Patriarchs, the various feudal lords and powerhouses could see what was happening on the light screen. The 13th prince is really incredible. He split his forces into 3 groups and already conquered 4 inferior grade inheritances. Wang Yi's guests were all outstanding talents with great desolate Yin bloodlines. They held a huge advantage when they first entered the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The other prince's guests endured the spatial pressure and did not dare to clash head-on with the 13th prince for now. Most of them chose to avoid the spatial pressure. The spatial pressure in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb was simply too great. The ever-present great desolate Yin aura prevented people from bringing out even 50% of their strength. They could only wait until they gathered sufficient dragon essence and gradually adapted to the spatial pressure. The first prince is really lucky. To think that he found a superior grade inheritance. The light screen showed that the first prince was leading Zui Yu and the others in attacking an inheritance whose dragon luck was clearly stronger than that of the other places. However, whether the first prince was lucky or the Imperial Ancestral Temple's Imperial Patriarchs provided sufficient insider information, everyone understood. Ha! The fourth prince is really unlucky. He could not find an inheritance and can only hunt demonic beasts. I don't think he can last this round. Hey, what's wrong with the 10th prince? His luck actually decreased by half. He is in the snowy region. If I recall correctly, no one has entered the ice inheritance there. It is one of the most complete inheritances in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. What's going on? The ice inheritance is gone. When the light screen showed the 10th prince, Xiao Chun happened to have already left, so no one noticed. The light screen only showed the 10th prince's pale face and dispirited face, as well as the collapsed ancient hall behind him. What a fellow! Who exactly got such a great bargain? Although this ice inheritance is a medial grade inheritance, it is complete. If one can obtain it, it will be even more valuable than a superior grade inheritance. Although a superior grade inheritance was of a higher grade, it was hard to say for sure that no one managed to enter it in the succession race. It was hard to say how many things could be left for the later generations. Given this, the value of a complete inheritance became clear. At the summit of a snowy mountain in the vast snowy region, Xiao Chun stood on the summit, facing the wind and snow as he looked at the scarlet blood rose in his hand. He had to choose between the ice inheritance and the ice great Tao. Without a doubt, Xiao Chun chose the latter. Let's take out the dragon jade first. Any treasure in the inheritance contained dragon essence. Furthermore, it contained more dragon essence than the average demonic beast. When the jade strip absorbed the dragon essence in the scarlet rose, Xiao Chun felt that the dragon essence in the jade strip had increased by half. The rose contained dragon essence, which was slightly more than the dragon essence that the 10th prince had given him. In the jade slip, the dragon essence was sparkling and translucent like an immortal spring. In the next moment, the dragon essence that was being nurtured within suddenly took form and leaped out. It swam up and down around the jade scroll. Xiao Chun reached out and held the jade strip in his hand. He immediately felt the spatial pressure of the entire ancient Yin Emperor tomb vanish. I didn't expect to collect a dragon shadow so quickly. Xiao Chun revealed a look of joy on his face. Being able to collect dragon essence so quickly was indeed a great surprise to him. As far as he knew, it should be rather difficult to collect a dragon shadow. Dragon shadows would appear only when the amount of dragon essence reached a certain level. The more dragon shadows around the jade strip, the more luck there was. It's time to absorb the ice great Tao in it. Xiao Chun muttered to himself after putting away the jade strip. Compared to the dragon essence, the ice great Tao that the scarlet rose represented filled Xiao Chun with even more anticipation. Right now, Xiao Chun's ice great Tao had already reached the second layer. He looked forward to absorbing this scarlet rose to see how much it would improve. Of course, the most important thing was to comprehend the white-clad Yin Emperor's understanding of the ice great Tao. Xiao Chun stretched out his hand and grasped the rose tightly. The thorns on the rose pierced his palm, connecting with his blood. The bright red roses, watered by the blood, were as beautiful as blood, giving off a strange light in this vast snowy region. Boom! Suddenly, the rose disappeared, turning into bright flower petals that filled the air, flying together with the snow. The wind was unclear. Would it be a rain of roses or a bloodbath? Xiaochen closed his eyes and sat down cross-legged. Then he slowly spread out the Ice Dao domain, filling the air with rose petals and snow. The rose petals turned into motes of light and entered Xiaochen's body. While Xiaochen refined the ice inheritance, the other prince's guests did not remain idle. Yellow sand flew everywhere, and sand dunes rose and fell. The mysterious black-clad man, who had parted ways with the first prince, wandered aimlessly in a sea of sand. This black-clad man wore half a mask. In his strange left eye flickered with a deep blue light. No one dared to look directly at him. It felt like if one looked at him for too long, one's soul would sink into it. Many ferocious beasts lived in the sea of sand. Occasionally, one could see guests who could not find the inheritance hunting them. Stop right there. Hand over all the dragon essence you collected. Just at this moment, two people rushed out from behind, and one of them shouted loudly. The mini prince's guests came from all walks of life. After coming to the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, they revealed some of their bad habits. The black-clad man remained expressionless when he heard that. He silently turned around and glanced at the two. The scarlet cross in the depths of the black-clad man's left eye flickered with a weak light. The two three-veined sovereign emperors preparing to rob the black-clad man immediately felt a chill in their faces. Horror inexplicably welled up in their hearts. Plop, plop. The heart of the short-haired man on the right beat increasingly fast, so fast that he could not control it. He felt something choking his throat. His breathing turned ragged, and he could not speak. Suddenly, without any warning, blood oozed out of that person's 7 orifices, and his heart leaped out of his chest. That person died on the spot, his eyes wide open. Before he died, he seemed to have suffered boundless torture, his eyes filled with boundless horror. The remaining three-veined sovereign emperor screamed in fright, trembling as he looked at the black-clad man. Such a scene was completely beyond his understanding. Boom! In his desperation, the black-clad man's aura surged, hating that he could not use up all his divine energy. The black-clad man ruthlessly threw a palm strike. The force of this palm strike gathered his divine energy, soul energy, and Tao domain, turning it into a fiercely burning eagle claw. This claw tore through the sky, and intense flames surged into the sky. Even a 4-veined sovereign emperor had to deal with it cautiously, not getting careless. This was the peak strike of this black-clad man out of extreme fear. He wanted to use this to buy himself some time to flee. Whoosh! The scarlet cross in the depths of the black-clad man's left eye spun frantically. In the next moment, something strange happened. The blazing eagle claw that seemed to be able to tear apart a small world got swallowed up by the black-clad man's left eye. There was no sound, no trace left. That black-clad man was utterly stunned. He even forgot to flee. When that black-clad man startled awake, he screamed and turned around to flee. However, just as he turned around, a strong suction came from him, and his entire body moved back. No matter how he struggled, he could not resist. That black-clad man could only grab at the air helplessly. Then, the wild, berserk energy pulled him into the black-clad man's left eye. Crack! Crack! The black-clad man's left eye seemed to contain a powerful, ferocious beast. After it swallowed up that black-clad man, it gave off cracking sounds. The surroundings were so quiet that it made one's hair stand on end. If someone heard these cracking sounds, they would definitely be horrified, not understanding what was going on. 2 three-veined sovereign emperors died silently in the eyes of the black-clad man called Shi. One was frightened to death, and the other was swallowed alive. However, all this seemed insignificant in the black-clad man's eyes. The black-clad man's expression did not change at all. He turned around and continued strolling through the desert, heading for the place where the sun set. After a while, under the afterglow of the huge setting sun, the black-clad man finally saw the person he wanted to see, Yin Tsangming. Jin Yuan stood at Yin Tsangming's side, hugging a saber as he stood at the side with his eyes half closed. Jin Yuan did not look at the black-clad man, not even glancing at him out of the corner of his eye. The afterglow still shone on his face. "Brother Yin, we meet again." The black-clad man's expression finally changed when he saw Yin Saming. Then, he revealed a faint smile. "Lord Shi." Yin Saming performed a cupped fist salute and bowed slightly, expressing his respect for this person. "Brother Yin, you are still as polite as before. You know when to advance and when to retreat. How about it? Have you considered what I told you before you came?" The black-clad man asked indifferently, not minding it. Yin Songming said after some thought, "I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint Lord Shi. I will not give this ethereal immortal palace key to anyone. However, I have never been disrespectful to Lord Shi, much less dare to be an enemy." Boom! The black-clad man's gaze sank, and his eyelids drooped slightly. Immediately, it felt like the sky pressed down heavily under his gaze. Even the huge setting sun seemed small above his head. Jin Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. A brilliant light flashed in his eyes, which had been closed all this while. Jin Yuan's right hand inadvertently grasped his saber's hilt. Mysterious black patterns appeared on Yin Songming's face, looking like dragon scales and looking somewhat sinister. Black death chi spread out from Yin Songming's body, squirming like it was alive. However, Yin Songming's expression did not change, and there was no hostility in his eyes. All of a sudden, all the pressure was swept away. The black-clad man's lips curled up. With this smile, the demonic clouds for 5,000 kilometers around scattered, and the setting sun turned bright. "Brother Yin, I have always treated you as a friend. How can you say such a thing? Even if you hold enmity for me, you will still be my friend. It is normal for friends to misunderstand each other." The black-clad man paused for a moment. Then he suddenly shifted his gaze to the sky and said, "However, this friend, there is no point in hiding. Hey, where are you looking at? I'm behind you." The black-clad man's expression changed slightly. When he turned around, he saw a person leaping out of the setting sun. This person appeared out of nowhere with an indistinct smile on his face. He had a calm expression and carried a sword on his back. Chapter 2284. The appearance of this person in the sun surprised the black-clad man. To think that he could not grasp the other party's position. The black-clad man could not help showing some doubt. The black-clad man was very confident in his perception. In that case, did this person teleport in an instant, or had he been hiding in this ancient Yin Emperor Tomb's sun from the start to the end? Jin Yuan and Yin Songming exchanged glances. They both saw shock in each other's eyes. At the same time, they somewhat understood why the black-clad man suddenly stopped. It must be because of this person. The black-clad man's background and strength were extremely horrifying. This was especially so for his eye technique, which inspired despair. "I'm certain that you are not among the prince's guests. Who are you? I am really curious." The black-clad man quickly recovered his calm as he spoke indifferently. "The Shuowu dynasty's first prince has been missing for more than 100 years. In the past decade, he appeared in the demonic Dao Hall. Rumor has it that he was born with a demonic eye that can plunge one into boundless fear. It can swallow up everything in the world, even bloodlines and souls." The person who arrived did not answer the black-clad man. Instead, he enunciated every word before continuing. "This prince's name is Shi. The demonic Dao Hall has already designated him as the Shu dynasty's crown prince. However, he remains extremely low profile. Even within the Shu dynasty, few people know about him." "Huh, it looks like you understand a lot about me." The black-clad man did not deny it. He smiled faintly and said, "However, I already know who you are. You are the universe origin sex Dao, Scion, Chu Chaoyan, a shocking genius who comprehended the primal chaos great bandit. You have answered my doubts about why I could not determine your location. Might I ask out of turn? Your primal chaos great Dao can confuse space, but can it confuse time?" Chu Chaoyan smiled and countered, "Why don't you guess? There's no need to guess. If you cannot, you can just die." A scarlet cross appeared in the black-clad man's eyes. Chu Chaoyan's expression immediately changed, and his figure slowly turned blurry in the air. Yin Songming felt slightly stunned. Then, he suddenly understood something and looked around. He saw Chu Chaoyun's figure appear where the black-clad man first determined Chu Chaoyun's location. However, the moment he appeared, his figure turned blurry again. Where is he? Yin Songming looked around. He discovered that every time he locked on to Chu Chaoyun, space would turn chaotic for some reason, disappearing from his vision. His figure continued to blur as he went further and further away. Hee, you can't escape. Since I've discovered your secret, there's no reason for me to let you go. The man in black snorted coldly and turned his gaze to the front. The blood-colored cross in his left eye flickered with light and started to spin crazily like a cross on the ground. Whoosh! The space in the surroundings twisted, and the space in the sky, the ground, the front, the back, the left, and the right, there were no blind spots, were all sucked in by his left eye. No matter how Chu Chaoyun's figure flashed in the distorted space, he could not avoid it. In the distorted space, blurry figures were being sucked toward the left eye of the man in black. Because there was no dead angle at all, the black-clothed man stood on the spot, and everything in the space around him was devoured by his left eye. Chu Chaoyun's expression changed slightly, and he stopped running. The thousands of figures in the distorted space merged together, revealing his true body. At the same time, Chu Chaoyun quickly formed hand seals with both hands, showing a grave expression. At the critical moment, Chu Chaoyun's body released a weak light. That was the primal chaos Dao domain. The instant this weak primal chaos Dao domain was brought out, divine characters appeared in Chu Chaoyun's eyes. His eyes shone with an extremely resplendent golden light. The heavenly flame covering Chu Chaoyun's body looked like glass, resplendent and crystalline. That flame gave off an ancient aura, breaking through the barriers of countless epochs. Whoosh! The flame flowed through the distorted space like silver light, surging into the black-clothed man's left eye. The surrounding distorted space instantly recovered. Blood leaked out of Chu Chaoyun's lips as he took the opportunity to flee. The black-clothed man's expression did not change as he looked coldly in the direction that Chu Chaoyun had taken. Everywhere the black-clothed man passed, space turned chaotic and layered over. The black-clothed man could not lock onto Chu Chaoyun's figure at all. Consider yourself lucky. The black-clothed man looked around and fixed his gaze on Yin Songming and Zhen Yuan, who were not far away. Then, his expression immediately changed. He smiled and said, "How embarrassing. I could not even trap an insignificant primal chaos Dao disciple. I've embarrassed myself in front of Brother Yin." The strength that Chu Chaoyun displayed earlier was not an ordinary kind of horrifying. Just that technique of distorting space alone was enough to make Chu Chaoyun tremble. Just that move alone gave Yin Songming a headache. However, before the black-clothed man, he could only flee. Although it was embarrassing, Yin Songming and Zhen Yuan did not think that Xiao Chen was weak. Yin Songming said softly, "Lord Shi really knows how to joke." This primal chaos Dao disciple could not even retaliate before Lord Shi. He could only flee. Lord Shi probably did not even bring out 1,000th of his strength. When the black-clothed man heard that, he guffawed endlessly. This strange laughter was completely unfathomable. Yin Songming smiled embarrassedly. However, he felt somewhat uncertain in his heart. He did not know what this black-clothed man was up to. "Brother Yin, you are a smart person. That's why I like making friends with you. It is understandable for friends to have some misunderstandings." The black-clothed man stopped smiling and looked meaningfully at Yin Songming. Yin Songming nodded and said, "Lord Shi is right. Good. In that case, I will not beat around the bush. I will not insist on the ethereal immortal palace key in your hand. There is no need for me to tell you how to express yourself, right?" The black-clothed man said calmly, giving off an unquestionable air. After some thought, Yin Songming said, "If the ethereal immortal palace appears, I will definitely stand on Lord Shi's side." The black-clothed man smiled faintly and did not say anything more. Then, he looked around and fixed his gaze on Zhen Yuan. The black-clothed man revealed a playful expression as he said softly, "I sense fear in you. How interesting." After saying that, The black-clothed man shook his head and turned to leave. The black-clothed man's final words shocked Yin Songming. Yin Songming sent a voice projection. Zhen Yuan, did he discover your secret? It's hard to say. However, he is skilled in the fear Tao, even fear itself. It is hard to say if he discovered anything. However, he will definitely not discover the Black Dragon King's secret. That's good. Did you notice? He is injured. Zhen Yuan's expression changed slightly. Then, he looked at Yin Songming and frowned. Are you sure? Yin Songming's earlier respectful attitude vanished. He said coldly, I saw it very clearly. Earlier, that primal chaos true sun did not fluster in the face of danger. At the moment of life and death, he forcefully drove his primal chaos Tao domain and brought out the might of a true god's true flame. She's heaven-swallowing demonic eye is said to be able to consume everything in the world. However, that primal chaos true flame is also said to be able to burn everything in the world to ashes. Zhen Yuan's eyes lit up. That is really good news. I keep feeling that he is an undefeatable existence. Even if I bring out my full power, I can only severely injure him. Yin Songming said seriously, this is one of his means. He wants to portray himself as undefeatable, planting the seed of fear in the hearts of everyone who comes into contact with him. The longer one interacts with him, the harder it is to defeat him. We have to thank this primal chaos true sun for breaking the seed that she planted in our hearts. Zhen Yuan sighed. Fear is truly incomprehensible. There's no need to care about that. The two of us only need to know that he has openings as well. Come, let's meet up with the Sixth Prince, right? Yin Songming and Zhen Yuan immediately left, not wanting to linger. Chu Chaoyan. On the other side, the distant black-clad man muttered to himself with his eyes closed in the yellow, sand filling the air. Black blood dripped down from his left eye along the half of his mask. Drip! The instant the blood landed on the yellow sand, all the spiritual energy and life force within 5,000 kilometers were swallowed up by this drop of black blood. Following that, the yellow sand filled the air, losing all life force. The surrounding 5,000 kilometers turned into a black desert. At a glance, one would think that the black blood had assimilated the desert. When the black-clad man opened his eyes again, a golden flame came out of his left eye. The black-clad man's pale complexion slowly recovered its color. As he looked at these flames, he revealed a look of disgust. Yin Songming, I hope you don't think too highly of yourself. The black-clad man snorted coldly and soared into the air, turning into a black cloud that vanished into the horizon. Chapter 2285. 2 days later, at the summit of a snowy mountain, Xiao Chun, who had already completely refined the scarlet rose, opened his eyes, and his Tao might immediately soared. First layer, second layer, third layer, fourth layer. Xiao Qin's Ice Tao domain rose by 2 layers, reaching the 4th layer. The boundless benefits of the ice inheritance far surpassed Xiao Qin's expectations, allowing him to gain a lot. Flowers bloomed before Xiao Qin's eyes, and heavy snow drifted before him. With a thought, the radiating Tao domain turned into a cold light and withdrew. The Tao domain condensed in Xiao Qin's hand, turning into a glistening scarlet rose. Xiao Chen casually waved his hand, and the rose scattered, turning into petals dancing in the air. Xiao Qin's lips curled up in a satisfied smile. By relying on the white-clad Yin Emperor's inheritance, Xiao Chen could instantly control the strengthened 4th layer Ice Tao domain as he pleased. With a thought, he could condense the 4th layer Ice Tao domain into a rose on his palm. With another movement, he could easily spread out the 4th layer Ice Tao domain, turning it into a rain of petals, forming a special field. It's time to search for other inheritances. After tasting the benefits, Xiao Chen decided to continue searching for inheritances. Either he did not search, or he went to superior grade inheritances. Only then could he gain something. However, he would probably have to go to a huge battle after this. 5 days had passed in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Most of the guests had already adapted to the spatial pressure here, and with the dragon essence they had collected, furthermore, they had collected dragon essence and could no longer bring out less than 50% of their strength. Shao Chun executed the heavenly eye, and a vertical eye flew out from his forehead and hovered in the air. Shao Chun used the heavenly eye to look into the distance. He saw many things that others could not see. Others were conquering those inheritances, and no one was interested in those inheritances. He could also see it clearly, which could avoid a lot of trouble and save him a lot of time. After a while, Shao Chun withdrew the heavenly eye. Then, he grasped the jade strip and checked the map of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The inheritances in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb were left by the previous Yin Emperors. The closer one was to the center, the more dangerous it would be. However, the level of the inheritances would also increase. Most importantly, the native ferocious beasts were stronger. Aside from this, there were many forbidden lands in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The so-called forbidden lands were places that even the Imperial Ancestral Temple could not figure out. 9 out of 10 people would die after entering. Where should I go? Unlike the jade slips of the other princes, Shao Chun's jade slips did not contain much additional information. For example, the first prince knew of some superior legacies that others did not know about, so he could easily make his choice. If it were Shao Chun, things would not be so simple. How to judge was crucial. Let's do it here. Our target is the Thunder Flame inheritance. Just now, I saw some of the prince's guests coming out with dejected expressions. I think they failed to break through. Shao Chun made his choice based on the information he saw with the heavenly insight god eye. All the previous Yin emperors of the Yinwu dynasty were swordsmen. Most of them were good at the fire Dao. There were also many geniuses who grasped 2 types of great Daos at the same time and could combine them perfectly. The Thunder Flame inheritance was such a place, the Thunder Dao and the Fire Dao. The demon blood vulture appeared, and Shao Chun leaped into the air and landed on it. 4 days later, the Thunder Flame inheritance appeared before Shao Chun. From the outside, it looked like a vast and imposing palace. There were many signs of battle nearby. Clearly, this Thunder Flame inheritance was a juicy piece of meat that several princes intended to occupy. However, it did not seem that easy to deal with. Thunderclouds covered the ceiling of the palace. Occasionally, lightning bolts descended. When the lightning landed, it immediately burned, scorching the surrounding 5,000 kilometers around the palace. Without a certain level of strength, it would be difficult to enter. Someone is coming. Shao Chun frowned slightly. In the next moment, he turned into a purple electric mark and instantly vanished. Whoosh! Whoosh! Soon, 3 figures descended from the sky. A horrifying emperor's might instantly spread out. Shao Chun saw from the shadows that the 13th prince's guests had also charged into this inheritance. 2 of the 3 middle-aged men gave off the aura of a golden dragon. They were horrifying 4-vain sovereign emperors. These 2 were called Qin Yu and Qin Liang. They were the dragon god-crowned Prince Qin Ming's paternal uncles. The other person was even stronger, actually a 5-vain sovereign emperor. This person's eyes filled with wildness. He was the Heavenly Wolf Empire's expert, Tuoba Yun. The 13th prince's guests split into 3 groups, sweeping through everything before them. The 3 of them were one of the groups. They had already conquered several inheritances. Then, they targeted the Thunder Flame inheritance, which had already troubled several princes. There seemed to be someone earlier? Tuoba Yun showed a calm gaze as he cautiously sized up the surroundings, using his soul energy to sense. After some thought, Qin Yu said, "I saw it as well. However, I only saw a vague figure that looked like someone." A sinister light flashed in Qin Liang's eyes. He snorted coldly and said, "It's Shao Chun. He is the person that the purple gold dragon emperor wanted to kill. He should have sensed us coming and entered first, or he is hiding. In that case, there is no need to care about him. He is just a mere 2-vain sovereign emperor. He is not a threat." As a 5-vain sovereign emperor, Tuoba Yun was qualified to say that. Right? If he dares to show himself, the 3 did not say anything more. They ignored the descending thunder flame as they strode towards the palace. This is somewhat problematic. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. The three were all great perfection sovereign emperors. This was especially so for Tuoba Yun, a five-vein sovereign emperor. The most crucial thing was that there were two golden dragon race, great perfection sovereign emperors. Xiao Chen had a deep grudge with the golden dragon bloodline, nearly to the point where they would not rest until one side was dead. Everyone in the golden dragon bloodline viewed Xiao Chen as a thorn in their flesh, wishing to get rid of him as soon as possible. Never mind. I have to obtain the Thunder Flame inheritance. A cold look flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. As for the two golden dragon race great perfection sovereign emperors, he had to kill them once he made a move. Xiao Chen gently pushed off with his feet and entered within 5,000 kilometers of the palace. Moving as light as a swallow, Xiao Chen weaved through the thousands of thunder flames as he pleased. Soon, he entered the palace. Indeed, there was a world inside. Only a metal bridge connected the two ends of the vast space. The bottom was a horrifying, pitch-black abyss. The end of the bridge led to an unknown place. Dang, dang, dang. The sound of the metal chains reverberated endlessly in the dark space. Thunder roared endlessly in the depths of Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness, shocking him. Fortunately, Xiao Chen's divine seal was strong and did not get affected. He walked steadily on the bridge, not flustered. After he was done, he entered another passageway. Using the light from the lamps on the walls, Xiao Chen turned his head back to look. He discovered that the bottom of the metal chains was filled with green thunder flames burning endlessly. Piles of white bones floated on the surface of the thunder flames. These were all sovereign emperors who had fallen from the metal chains. This looked like a simple path, but so many people died during experiential training. Bona fide sovereign emperors died here. This was truly lamentable. Sovereign emperors had tested it before, and it was already comparable to divine materials. After being burned by the thunder flames for thousands of years, it gave off a jade-green light. Their sound, soft footsteps rang out, startling Xiao Chen slightly. Damn it, we actually ran into the 8th prince's guests at the final step after much difficulty. Let's go. These three great perfection sovereign emperors are pretty good for not robbing us. Hee hee. I guess it is because they have conquered too many inheritances. That's why they do not care about our gains. After a while, a group of people appeared in front of Xiao Chen. This group was bustling with dispirited expressions, clearly in a bad mood. There were quite a number of people, at least a dozen of them. After failing to break through the Thunderflame inheritance in a few one-on-one battles, the mercenaries from different factions decided to team up. Who could have imagined that they would run into Tuoba Yun's group of three and be chased out? Before strength, they had no choice but to submit. Xiao Chen. Someone recognized Xiao Chen and was slightly stunned, clearly stunned. Nearly all the prince's guests had heard of Xiao Chen's name. It was not strange for someone to recognize him. Xiao Chen nodded slightly and said, "Excuse me." Then he continued walking forward. Just as Xiao Chen was halfway there, someone suddenly shouted coldly, "Stop! What advice do you have?" "Nothing much. I heard that you have a medial grade soul tool. You must have gained a lot in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, right? We would like to take a look." The one who spoke was a purple-clad, middle-aged man. Greed flashed in his eyes. Right after that person spoke, the others showed playful expressions. Although they belonged to different factions, they had formed an alliance before death. Even if Xiao Chen had a medial grade soul tool, it would still be easy to deal with a two-vein sovereign emperor. Wasn't it a piece of cake? They had the advantage in numbers, and it wasn't a problem at all. Chapter 2286. The purple-clad, middle-aged man's name was Zhang Ping. He was the 18th prince's guest, a peak three-vein cultivator. Those who could cultivate to sovereign emperor before 500 years old were incredible existences. Those who could cultivate to three-vein sovereign emperor could be considered outstanding talents, considered experts in Yin City. However, among the many prince's guests, Zhang Ping could only be considered average. After being chased away by the 13th prince's three guests, Zhang Ping felt frustrated. When he suddenly saw Xiao Chen, he immediately had a bad idea. Zhang Ping immediately had a bad idea. Under Zhang Ye's instigation, the greed in these people's hearts stirred. Relying on their numbers, they became even more ferocious. What's wrong? Is young Master Xiao not willing? In that case, don't blame us for bullying you. You are still young and should not be willing to leave the ancient Yan Emperor tomb so early, right? The purple-clad, middle-aged man, Zhang Ping, smiled mischievously. He thought that he had grasped Xiao Qian's weakness, certain that Xiao Qian would not dare to resist. When Xiao Qian heard that, he smiled instead of getting angry. After some thought, he said, "With your delay, I probably will not be able to obtain much benefit from this Thunderflame inheritance. Never mind. I'll just take some losses from you." "Brat, you must be dreaming." A two-vein, sovereign emperor with a fiery temper charged out of the crowd. This person was a three-vein sovereign emperor with a stocky build. With one look, it was clear that he cultivated a special body-tempering cultivation technique. "This grandpa will teach you a lesson." Star-breaking fist. Boom! The instant the man clenched his fist, an explosive force shot out. A strong wind howled like a saber. However, this man's fist light was even faster than the strong wind. He moved like lightning as he punched. As its name suggested, the star-breaking fist could shatter an average-sized star in the outside world when practiced to its peak. Given this man's cultivation, he had clearly practiced this fist to its peak. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he could shatter a star in the outside world. Flickering lantern flames appeared in Xiao Qian's eyes as he instantly executed the candle dragon eyes. A candle dragon head image behind Xiao Qian opened at the same time. Then, a formless ice flame entered the man's body. The man's explosive speed slowed down before Xiao Qian. "Kneel!" When he got close, Xiao Qian let out a cold shout and lifted his leg to crush his knee. With a miserable shriek, the burly man fell to his knees in front of Xiao Qian. The ice flames swept through his limbs, bones, internal organs, and soul pool, causing him so much pain that he wished he were dead. Xiao Qian, who already possessed the fourth-layer ice domain, executed the candle dragon eyes. Its might was already incomparable to before. Xiao Qian subdued a three-vein sovereign emperor with one kick. Horror flashed in the eyes of the other guests. Their hearts trembled. Xiao Qian's strength clearly surpassed their expectations. "I forfeit." The man kneeling on the ground couldn't stand the pain of the ice flames, and he couldn't focus on healing in front of Xiao Qian, so he was forced to give up. "Everyone, hand over a treasure and transfer half of your dragon essence to me. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving." Xiao Qian swept his gaze across the crowd of guests who wanted to rob him and shouted coldly, "Everyone, don't panic. No matter how strong he is just one person. If we attack together, even if a few of us die, we can still subdue him." The purple-clad, middle-aged man who spoke first shouted when he saw the situation, trying to boost morale. That was not wrong. Xiao Qian could not defeat so many sovereign emperors. However, the purple-clad, middle-aged man forgot one thing. If Xiao Qian wanted to leave, even if there were twice as many people, they could not stop him. Xiao Qian was born undefeatable. However, this group of people belonged to different princes. How could they dare to risk their lives to surround and attack Xiao Qian? Wishful thinking. Damn it! Zhang Ping raged in his heart. He knew that if he did not take the lead and delay Xiao Qian, the others would not make a move. "Xiao Qian, don't be arrogant." Whoosh! A saber light appeared, and Zhang Ping took the lead to charge at Xiao Qian. A sharp saber light instantly encased Xiao Qian. Zhang Ping did not dare to be careless, not holding anything back. He merged his divine energy, soul energy, and Tao domain. He brought out everything he learned in his life into these saber lights. Whoosh! 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 However, Xiao Qian should not have executed his saber techniques before someone who comprehended the saber great Tao. This was simply making a fool of himself. You have not even comprehended the saber Tao domain, and yet you dare to draw your saber before me? Who gave you the courage? Xiao Qian mocked. He did not make a move, just casually walking around the saber lights that he saw as full of openings. Immediately, The boundlessly ferocious and tyrannical saber technique that others saw as boundlessly tyrannical moved. Xiao Chun looked like he was taking a leisurely stroll, not even staining his clothes. Seeing that someone was fleeing quietly, Xiao Chun stopped wasting time with them. He placed his right hand on the scabbard on his back and said coldly, "The saber is not for you to play with." Clang! Xiao Chun drew the tyrant saber with the support of the saber Dao domain. It easily shattered Zhang Ping's vast saber technique. Then, the tyrant saber hacked down heavily. Clang! The saber in Zhang Ping's hand flew away. Zhang Ping could not resist the huge force at all, instantly falling to the ground. Lie down for a while longer. Without even looking at Zhang Ping, Xiao Chun spun the tyrant saber around and stabbed it back. The tyrant saber pierced Zhang Ping's chest amid a startled cry, pinning him to the ground. At the same time, the God Shadow Bao appeared in Xiao Chen's hand. He released his divine seal, drew back the bowstring, and released an arrow. The arrow pierced the hearts of the two sovereign emperors who had already stepped onto the metal chains, causing them to fall. Even 5 vain sovereign emperors could not block the horrifying thunder flame below. Naturally, only death awaited the two. Is there anyone else who wants to leave? The bow in my hand is called God Shadow. Even a great perfection sovereign emperor would find it hard to block this arrow of mine. There's only one way out. If you dare, you can give it a try. Xiao Chen spoke with a relaxed tone. His tone did not sound like that of a too vain sovereign emperor. The group of guests was stupefied when they saw this. With a raise of his hand, Xiao Chun easily took down 2-3 vain sovereign emperors. The combat prowess he showed already rivaled that of 5 vain sovereign emperors. Let me go, and I'll give you a treasure. This is my jade strip. Zhang Ping grasped the tyrant saber with both hands. Electric light flickered on the saber, but he could not pull out of his chest. He fell into utter despair. The first to submit to Xiao Chun was to say that Xiao Chun was unwilling to leave the ancient tomb. However, the one who was truly unwilling was Zhang Ping himself. With the example of Zhang Ping and the body-tempering man and the deterrence of the God Shadow Bao, this group of people had no choice but to submit. This group of people felt so regretful that their intestines turned green. They even cursed Zhang Ping's 18 generations of ancestors in their hearts. Everything was fine. Just let Xiao Chun walk over. Why did you stop the other party? After this group of people left, Xiao Chun looked at the watery and heavy jade strip and revealed a satisfied smile. Another dragon image swam around the jade strip. As for the treasures, there was an even greater pile. There were rare great desolate Aeon herbs, ancient divine materials, and ferocious beast souls. Even if Xiao Chun could not obtain the Thunder Flame inheritance on this trip, he had already profited greatly. If others do not offend me, I will not offend them. If others offend me, I will repay them tenfold. Xiao Chun put away these treasures with a peace of mind. Then, he tightly grasped the jade strip and turned to head into the depths of the palace. After looking at the God Shadow Bao in his hand, Xiao Chun entered deep thought. Then, he took out the Death God mask and wore it. In that instant, Xiao Chen's aura vanished, becoming one with the darkness. There were 2 4-vain sovereign emperors and 1 5-vain sovereign emperor. They had the noblest backgrounds and outstanding talent, possessing great desolate Aeon bloodlines. The motley crew from earlier could not compare to these 3. The difference in strength was like heaven and earth. If Xiao Chun could deal with or severely injure one of them, it would be much easier to fight. In the depths of the Thunder Flame inheritance, Tuoba Yun, Qin Yu, and Qin Liang fought a group of Thunder Devils and Flame Devils. The Thunder Devils and Flame Devils did not have bodies of flesh and blood. They were spirits born in the world and did not have high intelligence. However, they were hard to destroy and possessed horrifying destructive power. The most troublesome thing was that if one could not kill these Thunder Devils and Flame Devils in one strike, they would quickly revive. Hence, the Thunder Flame inheritance blocked the attacks of the many princes, not breaking through. However, it was hard to say now that the 3 met Tuoba Yun's group. These three truly lived up to being elite sovereign emperors carefully selected from the 8 great empires. They did not show any fear when facing the many thunder devils and flame devils. Nearly all of them killed in one strike. Occasionally, an expert could not kill in one strike. Another person would quickly make up for it, working well together. As for the Heavenly Wolf Empire's Tuoba Yun, he was even more incredible. He was currently fighting a mutated ferocious spirit alone. This ferocious spirit seemed to be a combination of a thunder devil and a flame devil. Half of its body flickered with electric light, and the other half was filled with surging flames. When the two merged, the ferocious spirit could switch between them as it pleased. With the support of the 2 Dao domains, it could bring out a Dao might close to the 9th layer. Even so, Tuoba Yun dealt with it very easily, appearing calm and at ease. It seemed like Tuoba Yun did not want to spend too much effort. He wanted to wait for Qin Yu and Qin Liang to finish off the other ferocious spirits before the 3 worked together to kill it. As the 3 fought intensely, they did not notice a figure merging into the darkness and observing for a long time. Tuoba Yun cannot move. Clearly, he is holding back. The God Shadow Bao might not be able to hit him. I can only target Qin Yu or Qin Liang. Xiao Chun, who had been observing for a long time, already made up his mind. He drew the bowstring, and the heart flame burned, filling the arrow with arrows. Chapter 2287. Xiao Chun released his divine seal and infused his soul energy into the bow. The instant the heart flame filled the arrow, he let go. Whoosh! Nearly at the same time, Xiao Chun let go. Qin Yu, who was preparing to kill a lightning fiend, felt his chest explode. A bowl-sized hole appeared in Qin Yu's chest, and blood spurted out like a fountain. The heart flame in the arrow entered the wound and corroded Qin Yu's entire body. His mind shook, and the divine seal in his soul pool flickered and dimmed. A large amount of soul energy leaked out uncontrollably. Pa! The lightning fiend fighting Qin Yu did not even think before throwing a palm strike. The instant the wriggling purple palm struck Qin Yu's head, lightning fell from the sky at the same time. Boom! The severely injured Qin Yu, who was already on the verge of death, died on the spot. His soul scattered, and he no longer showed any signs of life. Everything happened in the time it took for a spark to fly. The pitiful Qin Yu did not even have time to bring out his great desolate Ian bloodline or his many life-saving treasures. He died just like that. Second brother, not far away. Qin Liang was stunned for a long time when he saw this scene. Everything happened too quickly. From a moment Xiao Chun let go to Qin Yu's death, only 2 breaths had passed. Qin Liang could not save Qin Yu in time, even if he wanted to. He could only watch as Qin Yu's corpse turned into a pile of mush. The lightning fiends continued to strike Qin Yu, a tragic sight to behold. After this arrow was shot, unless Xiao Chun left immediately, he would definitely expose himself if he remained here. Xiao Chun took off the death god mask and slowly revealed himself from the darkness. Qin Liang, who startled awake, narrowly dodged the attacks of the lightning fiends and the flame fiends. When he saw Xiao Chun's true appearance, he was enraged. Xiao Chun, you mixed blood dragon. How dare you kill my second brother? The alloy dragon armor appeared. Xiao Chun showed a calm expression, unperturbed. Back in the Divine Dragon Empire, the Golden Dragon bloodline had nearly driven him into a corner. After he managed to escape with great difficulty, he still suffered 2 fatal assassinations. Each time, his life hung by a thread. Since Xiao Chun met this Golden Dragon expert, how could he show mercy? Should he wait for the other party to kill him? Impossible. Don't worry, you'll be accompanying him soon. Electric light flickered as silver battle armor covered Xiao Chun's entire body. Purple dragon patterns adorned the armor, and a reverse scale pendant hung on his forehead. After activating the alloy dragon armor, Xiao Chun's aura surged, and his entire aura changed. The withdrawn sharpness was completely revealed. Dragonite spread out, looking solid. I didn't come looking for you, but you actually delivered yourself to me. You're courting death. Seeing that not only did Xiao Chun not run, but he was charging towards him instead. Qin Liang laughed sinisterly. A set of golden dragon armor appeared. It looked dazzling with golden light, and dragon silhouettes flew around. However, compared to Xiao Qian's combined dragon armor, it was clearly much weaker. Tuoba Yun, who was currently fighting the Thunder Flame Devil, frowned slightly. He wanted to help. However, he could not be careless with the Thundercliff demonic fiend before him. It was not something that he could escape just because he wanted to. If he left and waited for it to return to its peak, all its previous efforts would have been in vain. With this thought, Tuoba Yun stopped holding back and attacked with all his might. He planned to quickly deal with the Thunder Flame Devil before helping Qin Liang deal with Xiao Chun. Furthermore, in Tuoba Yun's opinion, if not for a sneak attack, Xiao Chun might not have been able to kill Qin Yu. At the very least, Xiao Chun would not lose to Qin Liang in a head-on clash. One thought could change many things. With this thought, Qin Yu's fate was already decided. Emperor Dragon Fist. Supreme Dragon Fist. Xiao Chun and Qin Yu quickly clashed. Dragon roars rang out, and dragon images flew everywhere. One side executed the Golden Dragon Race's Emperor Dragon Fist, and the other executed the Supreme Dragon Fist. The Emperor Dragon Fist was known as the Dragon Race's top offensive technique. Among all fist techniques, no one could match it. However, the prerequisite was that the Supreme Dragon Fist did not appear. In a few breaths, the two exchanged 100 moves. With every punch and every move, Qin Yu actually ended up at a disadvantage. No matter what he did, he could not reverse the situation. The most crucial thing was that Xiao Chun completely suppressed his Golden Dragon might. The Golden Dragon in his body did not even dare to raise its head. Qin Yu immediately felt somewhat flustered. The Golden Divine Dragon was the strongest of the Divine Dragon bloodlines. Aside from the Heaven Dragon, what other dragon race bloodline could suppress it? However, Qin Yu did not know that Xiao Chun had the Blue Dragon bloodline. Furthermore, he had the Royal Blue Dragon bloodline conferred by the royal genealogy. You are just an insignificant mixed blood dragon, and you dare to be impudent. Back off, Qin Yu shouted, giving up on fighting Xiao Chun with his fist technique. Then, he took out a sword radiating an Emperor Dragon might. This was an inferior grade soul tool. The most crucial thing was that it contained the Divine Dragon Empire's Emperor Dragon might. This sword was far from what an ordinary inferior grade soul tool could compare to. The dazzling sword gave off a bright light. A vague image of countless dragon images kneeling and worshipping appeared amid the light, recounting the tens of thousands of years of glory of a legendary race. With the support of the Emperor Dragon might, Xiao Chun felt a mountain-like pressure. He actually felt an urge to submit. This was the reverence the dragon race bloodline had for their race's dragon emperor. When facing this sword, it is like a dragon race disciple personally descending. You insignificant mixed blood dragon, why are you still not kneeling? Qin Yu revealed a cocky expression. He thought to himself, you are quite capable to be able to force me to draw this sword. However, it ends here. Ignorant. Xiao Chun smiled coldly in his heart. It is just a fake holy land, not the true Emperor Dragon Sword. Instead of dodging, Xiao Chun advanced instead of retreating. Before Qin Yu's shocked gaze, he drew the soul tool, Heavenly Slayer. Dang! The saber and sword clashed. Qin Yu, who wanted to salvage the situation, vomited a mouthful of blood and took another 3 steps back. His right hand, which held the sword, exploded. He lost all feeling in his arm. This is Heavenly Slayer, the soul tool of my dragon race's treasure trove. It has been missing for a long time. How did it end up in your hands? You speak too much. Qin Yu, who was already at a disadvantage, panicked. However, Xiao Chun did not give him a chance to speak. Using the might of Heavenly Slayer, Xiao Chun unleashed a sharp saber move. Oh no! Tuoba Yun, who was dealing with the Thunder Flame Devil, sensed the might of Heavenly Slayer. Then, he looked at the two's battle. Tuoba Yun goggled. Qin Yu, a bona fide 4-vein sovereign emperor with the Golden Dragon bloodline, actually ended up in such a sorry state. Not to mention Qin Yu's body riddled with injuries. He even activated his bloodline. His situation did not change at all. However, during this moment of distraction, the shock waves of the Thunder Flame Devil's attack struck Tuoba Yun, shaking his soul and making his chi and blood surge. Damn it! Qin Yu felt helpless. The more anxious he became, the more chaotic he became. He was about to deal with the Thunder Flame Devil, but it ended up injuring him instead. Brother Tuoba, save me. The Emperor Dragon's sword flew out of Qin Yu's hand. Frightened out of his wits, he called out loudly, resolving the mundane. Regardless of whether Tuoba Yun decided to make a move or not, Xiao Chun did not intend to let Qin Yu live. Even if Xiao Chun had to endure one of Tuoba Yun's attacks, he had to kill this person today. Since the mundane was resolved, it was eternal. Heavenly Slayer released an eternal and inextinguishable saber light. Xiao Chun remained expressionless as he turned into an ancient Buddhist venerate. He had transformed into an ancient Buddha, and the 7 emotions and 6 sensory pleasures had all vanished. All his obsession was in this saber strike. Die. After losing the Emperor Dragon Sword and facing a killing move executed by a medial grade soul tool, even if he had 9 lives, he would not be able to survive. The instant the saber light chopped down, Qin Yu's defenses shattered layer by layer. Dissatisfaction filled Qin Yu's face, and horror filled his eyes. However, he could not do anything, only watch as the saber descended. The saber completely shattered Qin Yu's physical body and soul. Xiao Chun sheathed his saber and unhurriedly picked up the Emperor Dragon Sword replica and the jade strip containing the dragon essence the two left behind. Kassier. At this moment, the Thunder Flame Devil finally died at Tuoba Yun's hands. Tuoba Yun grabbed a primal chaos pearl flickering with lightning and flame. It was very difficult for the Thunder Flame Devil and the Flame Devil to merge. Furthermore, they merged so perfectly. The Thunder Flame Devil left behind was definitely a supreme treasure. After Xiao Chun put away the Emperor Dragon Sword and the Jade Strip, he happened to meet the eyes of Tuoba Yun, who had turned around. There was no fear in Tuoba Yun's eyes at all, only calmness. It was like killing 2 4-veined sovereign emperors was nothing to be proud of in Xiao Chen's eyes. There was no joy or sorrow, just calmness. Tuoba Yun felt shocked in his heart. What a terrifying mental state. Fortunately, he did not take the risk to save Qin Yu earlier. Otherwise, if he had been severely injured by the Thunder Flame Devil's counterattack before its death, it would have been very difficult for him to face this youth. However, now, Tuoba Yun no longer had any worries. No matter how stunning the other party was, he had no chance of victory before his deep cultivation. Furthermore, Tuoba Yun still had many trump cards that he had not used yet. Earlier, you had the chance to attack me, Tuoba Yun said indifferently, not in a rush to attack. Tuoba Yun did not rush to make a move. At the same time, he calmly observed every detail of Xiao Chen's body. Tuoba Yun was referring to the instant Xiao Chun killed Qin Yu before he finished off the Thunder Flame Devil. However, Xiao Chun did not grasp this excellent opportunity. Instead, he went to pick up the Emperor Dragon Sword and the Jade Strip the two left behind. There is no need. You have been holding back. Even though you decided to quickly kill the Thunder Flame Devil, you still have trump cards that you have not used. If I make a move, I will instantly suffer a lightning-quick strike from you. As a 2-veined Sovereign Emperor, I cannot endure a peak strike from a 5-veined Sovereign Emperor. Xiao Chun spoke with a calm expression, showing no openings. Tuoba Yun's expression changed slightly as he said coldly, "Since you know that you cannot defeat me, why are you still not scramming? Is that so?" "I did not say that. Naturally, I am not leaving because I want the Thunder Flame inheritance. You are very naive to think that you can monopolize it." Xiao Chun saw through the other party's thoughts, revealing a mocking expression. The instant Xiao Chun spoke, he opened his right hand, and a scarlet rose slowly bloomed on his palm. Whoosh! Xiao Chen's peak 4th layer ice Dao domain instantly spread out. As snowflakes drifted down, a chill assaulted him. It's not over yet. The instant the snowflakes landed, resplendent electricity burst out of Xiao Chen's body. The lightning patterns on his alloy dragon armor lit up. With the support of the alloy dragon armor, Shao Chen's peak 5th layer thunder Dao domain broke through 2 layers, reaching a startling 7th layer Dao might. Ice and lightning layered over each other. His Dao might soared again, approaching the 9th layer. The instant Shao Chun opened his palm, his aura soared. He was no weaker than Tuoba Yun, even slightly stronger. Come, let me see what ability you have to make me scram. Fighting spirit blazed in Shao Chen's eyes. He remained calm as he stared at Tuoba Yun, taking the initiative to challenge him. Chapter 2288. Come, let me see what ability you have to make me scram. The calm expression in Shao Chen's eyes and his calmness enraged Tuoba Yun. Since when did a junior dare to be so arrogant before him? 4th layer Ice Dao Domain, 6th layer Thunder Dao Domain. Pretty good fusion. However, you are too naive if you think that you can fight me with this. I'll show you what a 5-vein Sovereign Emperor is. Tuoba Yun felt like his dignity was being challenged. If he could endure at this moment, he would be letting down his heart of the martial Dao. Boom! Right after Tuoba Yun spoke, 5 rings of light burst out behind him. Each ring of light represented a divine vein. Furthermore, these rings of light were dense and vast, giving off an ancient feeling of being one with the heavens. This fully revealed Tuoba Yun's deep cultivation. This showed that Tuoba Yun's divine energy was not something an ordinary sovereign emperor could compare to. Like Shao Chun, Tuoba Yun had used up a lot of resources to refine it several times. His cultivation technique might not be as good as the 10,000 Dragons art. However, given the Heavenly Wolf Empire's accumulations, it should not be too far off. Tuoba Yun came from an empire's royal clan, had outstanding talent, a strong bloodline, abundant resources. It was no exaggeration to label Tuoba Yun with all these things. Tuoba Yun was the kind of outstanding talent that was born with a higher starting point than others and could persist in bitter cultivation. With hundreds of years of accumulation, even without any fortuitous encounters, such a person would be much stronger than an ordinary 4-vein sovereign emperor. Bang! Vast divine energy surged like the sea, giving Tuoba Yun a strong aura. After he snorted coldly, he brought out his Thunder Dao Domain as well. Tuoba Yun's Thunder Dao Domain was only at the 5th layer. However, with the support of his divine energy, it was no weaker than Shao Chen's. A strong wind howled, accompanied by thunder. Crack! Crack! Tuoba Yun's aura surged out like a surging wave. Just as shock waves blasted the many thunder devils and flame devils in the area into pieces. What a strong emperor's might. Withdraw, Shao Chen said softly as he withdrew the 2 Dao domains that he radiated. When the other party's overwhelming aura arrived, Shao Chun punched out. Lightning and ice surged. Shao Chun broke a hole in his opponent's momentum. Moving like a dragon, Shao Chun leaped out of the opening and dodged the attack. This is just the beginning, kid. When Tuoba Yun saw that Shao Chun did not dare to clash head-on with Shao Chun, he smiled coldly and filled the entire space with his Dao domain. 5 light wheels flickered behind him as he closed in on Shao Chun and slammed his palm down. Roar! The moment he thrust out his palm, the 5 light wheels behind him condensed into a howling white wolf. Heavenly Wolf shatters the sun. Supreme Dragon Fist, raging at the unfair heaven. Shao Chun did not show any fear in the face of danger. He circulated the 10,000 Dragons art, and dragons emerged from his divine energy. Boundless divine energy turned into raging flames that blasted out. Bang! Bang! Immediately, thousands of dragon images leaped out of Shao Chen's fist light, forcefully blocking Tuoba Yun's attack. Die! Tuoba Yun revealed a sinister smile. The instant Shao Chen's attack came into contact, he immediately changed his move. After a feint, he clenched his left hand into a fist and punched at Shao Chen's chest. You are still too inexperienced to fight me. This is my true killing move. Dang! When the fist light landed on the alloy dragon armor, it produced a loud sound as if it had struck a metal mountain. Electric patterns flickered on the alloy dragon armor, looking dazzling. Blue Dragon War Body awaken. Xiao Chun shouted and activated the divine dragon body tempering art. His body awakened inside the alloy dragon armor, and the blue dragon war body materialized a layer of inner armor, negating most of the force from Toba Yun's punch. Candle Dragon Eyes. The lantern flames in Xiao Chen's eyes flickered, and the icy demonic flame instantly landed on Tuoba Yun's body, burning fiercely. Whoosh! Tuoba Yun grunted and quickly retreated. Electric light flashed in his body. Then, he released a strand of extreme electric light from his body. Tuoba Yun used a large amount of divine energy to force out the thousands of icy flames. After suffering a small loss, Tuoba Yun felt enraged. He roared, "Heavenly Wolf swallowing the moon." The light wheels of the 5 divine veins formed a huge heavenly wolf. It opened its huge mouth and leaped out, heading for Xiao Chun. That huge mouth was boundlessly vast. It could swallow a river, the setting sun, the stars, and the bright moon. Taiji Yin-Yang flamed diagram. Xiao Chen's figure moved like the cool breeze, moving up and down. As he waved his hand, a painting unfurled. Bang! It was a ferocious dog that dared to swallow the sun and the moon. When it crashed into the painting, it was like a ferocious beast crashing into a steel plate, knocked back. One painting separated life and death. No matter how much you swallow the moon, what can you do to me? What the heck? Blood leaked out of a corner of Tuoba Yun's mouth. He felt an incredible toothache. Earlier, the heavenly wolf was connected to his soul. When Tuoba Yun crashed into the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram, he felt like an ordinary person crashing into a steel plate. The pain made him grimace and look miserable. Tuoba Yun tumbled a few times in the air. When he tried to see the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram clearly, he discovered that Xiao Chun had already withdrawn it. Thunder Monarch Spear. Xiao Chun opened his palm. With the support of the Thunder Dao domain, the 5-element divine lightning formed a short spear shining with bright light. Whoosh! 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 The many Thunder Monarch spears in Xiao Chun's hand shot out like arrows. As Xiao Chun executed the divine firmament 9 variations, the Thunder Monarch spears formed by the 5-element divine lightning covered the place. When the spears landed on the wall with restrictions, they stabbed deep into it, creating spiderweb-like cracks. After suffering repeated setbacks in his attacks, he suddenly faced such a thunderous attack that covered the sky and covered the earth. Tuoba Yun wanted to dodge, but he could not. Several Thunder Monarch spears stabbed him. Electric light exploded, causing Tuoba Yun to cry out in pain. Although Tuoba Yun looked miserable, he was not truly severely injured. After all, he still had his vast cultivation as a 5-vein sovereign emperor. If it were another 3-vein sovereign emperor, one spear strike would have killed him, scattering his soul. Such torture nearly drove Tuoba Yun crazy. He wanted to execute a killing move several times to fight to the death with Xiao Chun. However, he discovered that Xiao Chun moved around. Aside from leaving behind purple electric marks, he could not determine his true body. Damn it! If you have the guts, stop hiding. Tuoba Yun roared as he shattered the Thunder Monarch spears, flustered and exasperated. As you wish. Thousands of electric images gathered in the air. The instant Xiao Chun revealed his true body, he drew the soul weapon, Heavenly Slayer. Mahamaya Abstinence Violation Saber, entering hell. Xiao Chun used a medial great soul tool to execute the powerful killing move, entering hell. In that instant, an Azura hell descended upon the world. Xiao Chun held a hellish evil dragon materialized by Heavenly Slayer as it descended, wanting to swallow up the world. F***CK. The might of the world breaking and hell descending truly startled Tuoba Yun. He couldn't help but curse. With a wave of his hand, he summoned a wolf-tooth mace with sharp saw teeth that flickered with a black light. He used it to meet Xiao Chen's saber. As the light spread out, all sorts of mysterious phenomena shattered. The entire space turned hazy. When everything vanished, Xiao Chun stood in the air, clad in the alloy dragon armor and carrying the tyrant's saber on his back. Tuoba Yin stood on the ground, holding the mace glowing with dark light. He panted heavily as he looked helplessly at the calm and collected Xiao Chun in the air. He felt that he was clearly stronger than the other party, but he was at a disadvantage, unable to hurt the other party at all. Instead, he ended up in a sorry state, covered in injuries. Tuoba Yin felt helpless. I give up. Let's do it this way. You and I will jointly obtain this Thunderflame inheritance, but I want 70% because I was the one who killed that Thunderflame devil. Tuoba Yin said coldly as he looked at Xiao Chun. Sure, give me the Thunderflame pearl, and you can get 70%, Xiao Chun said softly with a calm expression. Scram, in your dreams. This is a rare primal chaos pearl. 60-40 then. I will get 60%, and you get 40. Otherwise, there is no need to discuss it. You can continue trying and see if you can injure me. Xiao Chen's expression did not change, appearing somewhat cold and inhumane. 60-40. You get 60%, and I get 40. Tuoba Yun's heart crumbled. Since when could a two-veined sovereign emperor say such things to him in such a righteous and confident manner? However, when Tuoba Yun saw Xiao Chen's cold expression, he sighed in his heart. If I continue fighting, I might not gain an advantage. In any case, I already obtained the Thunderflame Pearl. I'll just leave it at this for now. After consoling himself, Tuoba Yun said after some thought, All right, I agree. Open a path. Xiao Chun pointed to the depths of the inheritance, at the final bronze door with restrictions. That's it for now. In the end, this Tuoba Yun was a five-veined sovereign emperor. Although Xiao Chun did not fear the other party, it would be hard for him to truly kill the other party. The ancient Yin Emperor tomb had just begun. There was no need to take such a risk. It was already sufficient for Xiao Chun to gain some advantage over the other party. One should never let greed blind one's heart. Tuoba Yun, who was holding his mace, felt very sullen. He felt that he was an expert of the Heavenly Wolf Empire's royal family. He felt like a bona fide expert of the Heavenly Wolf Empire's royal clan. But before Xiao Chun, he was like a dog being ordered around. Chapter 2289. In the center of the ancient bronze gate was a mysterious lightning pattern. Tuoba Yin stepped forward and smashed the door with his mace without saying a word. Xiao Chen's spike club was a peak inferior grade soul tool, even stronger than Qin Liang's false emperor dragon sword. The bronze door shattered, stirring up a cloud of dust. Goo-goo, goo-goo. At the same time, a strange sound rang out, and endless black-armored insects surged out like a wave. Scarab. Xiao Chun and Tuoba Yun both recognized this ferocious beast. It was an ancient, wondrous insect that was close to a consummate technique in the Great Thousand Realms. It could chew on divine materials, swallow soul treasures, and spit out poison. It was impervious to fire and water, and weapons would find it hard to injure it. The two's expressions changed slightly. Not daring to be careless, they quickly dodged. Oh my God, why are there so many sacred beetles? I can't go in. Tuoba Yun sucked in a breath of cold air when he saw the sacred beetles pouring out of the entrance like waves. Clang, clang, clang. The two of them were naturally unwilling to give up, so they each took action to kill the sacred beetles. It was barely effective and could only push him back, not kill him in one strike. At this rate, if he didn't leave, he might even fall into it and die a horrible death. Tuoba Yun frowned heavily as he observed Xiao Chen's expression, trying to figure something out. The sudden situation left him at a loss as to what to do. He wanted to see if Xiao Chun had any way to deal with these sacred beetles. However, he noticed that the other party's complexion was slightly unsightly, even worse than the others. For some reason, Tuoba Yun felt joy in his heart when he saw Xiao Chun struggling so much. In the end, you're just a two-veined sovereign emperor. Tuoba Yun, I will leave first. This inheritance is yours. It was more important to stay alive. It was not easy to deal with these great desolate mutants. Even with all his martial techniques and divine weapons, he felt helpless, his killing power limited. What was even more terrifying was that the sacred beetles were still pouring out of the broken gate and letting out strange cries. F*CK. Seeing Xiao Chun vanish right after he spoke, Tuoba Yun cursed. Ha ha! This brat really wanted to kill him. Hurry up and leave. Boom, boom, boom. Tuoba Yun brandished the dark-spiked mace in his hand and roared. Then, he forcefully carved out a path and fled. After a while, he confirmed that Tuoba Yun had truly left. A figure slowly appeared in the darkness. Xiao Chun took off the death god mask and reappeared. So he hadn't gone far at all. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. This sudden change had helped him a lot. Demon Blood Vulture! Xiao Chun shouted, and a scarlet light flashed. The Demon Blood Vulture covered in scarlet flames appeared. Roar! It seemed to have endured for a long time. The moment it was summoned, it opened its mouth. Suddenly, a blood-colored vortex appeared in his mouth. It was like a black hole, devouring the desolate era's strange species. The sacred beetles, which were initially problematic for Xiao Chun and Tuoba Yun, became a delicacy for the Demon Blood Vulture. Furthermore, it was an extremely rare species of the Great Thousand Worlds, the sacred beetle. Crunch! Crunch! The Demon Blood Vulture chewed continuously as it swallowed, giving off crunching sounds. GA! 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 How awesome! How awesome! I feel that I can make another breakthrough this time. The Demon Blood Vulture appeared very excited as it did its best to devour these sacred beetles. The scarlet flames on its body burned fiercely, looking like holy flames. With the Demon Blood Vulture here, these sacred beetles were no problem for Xiao Chun. Furthermore, he could use this to shake off Tuoba Yun, the old fogey. This was simply great. Xiao Chun's figure flashed, and he entered the back of the ancient bronze doors. Boom! The berserk thunder flames turned into waves that flowed like water, filling this space. What delighted Xiao Chun was that these thunder flames contained incredibly pure dragon essence. It looked like the Thunder Flame inheritance was here. Congratulations, you have successfully passed my test. A portion of the flowing thunder flames formed a figure, the previous owner of this place. Like the white-clad Yin Emperor that Xiao Chun came into contact with before, this person was a strand of remnant soul that managed the inheritance here. Xiao Chun nodded slightly and did not say anything, waiting for this person to continue. You only grasp the Thunder Great Tao and cannot obtain my entire inheritance. Only half, the remnant soul said, softly as it sized up Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun did not feel surprised. This was just like the previous ice inheritance. If not for that person's appetite, he would not have obtained the entire inheritance. Clearly, the owner of this inheritance would have a similar request. I'm not interested. Many thanks, Senior. Xiao Chun did not argue. He just accepted it calmly. Whoosh! The remnant soul formed hand seals with both hands, and resplendent electric light burst out from its 10 fingers. It flowed like water, looking very beautiful. What pure Thunder Great Tao energy! Xiao Chun felt startled. This Thunder Great Tao energy was as pure as origin liquid, truly astonishing. After forming the hand seals, the remnant soul took out a jade bottle and poured in the purple electric liquid. Then, it handed it to Xiao Chun. How heavy! Xiao Chun could not help sighing softly as he received the bottle. This is the Thunder Immortal Dew for you. It has the same effect as origin liquid, directly improving your Thunder Great Tao. After the remnant soul finished speaking, it pointed with one hand and handed a secret manual to Xiao Chun. After some thought, it said, "This is the Thunder Flame art that I created myself. Anyone who passes the test will obtain it." Thunder Flame art. Xiao Chun felt somewhat bored. If only it were the Thunder Ice art. There is one last inheritance treasure for you. The Great Desolate Aeon Fruit, Heavenly Cloud Fruit. After the remnant soul handed the brocade box to Xiao Chun, it vanished, turning into lightning and flames that merged into the water-like thunder flame. Xiao Chun was not in a rush to leave. He took out a jade strip and started collecting the dragon essence that was everywhere. At the same time, Tuoba Yun rushed back with a depressed expression. This trip was incredibly frustrating, especially when he could not do anything to Xiao Chun at the end. Furthermore, Xiao Chun ordered him around like a dog. Damn it, don't let me catch that brat. That's not right. I have been walking for so long, but I do not sense any aura left behind by that brat. Tuoba Yun was a wily old fox. He suddenly came to a realization and noticed that something was wrong. After all, Xiao Chun was a too-vain sovereign emperor. Unless he intentionally hid, he should have left behind some aura. Furthermore, Tuoba Yun had fought with Xiao Chun before and was very familiar with his aura. Dong, dong, dong. Just as Tuoba Yun felt uncertain and wondered if he should go back to take a look, footsteps came from ahead. Tuoba Yun immediately collected his thoughts and showed a cautious expression as he looked ahead with an unfathomable expression. In mere moments, 3 people appeared in Tuoba Yun's vision. The leader wore blue and white robes. He had a cold expression and a faint sword intent, exuding a pressing, baleful aura. Brother Dao Yan. Tuoba Yun felt a chill as he unknowingly drew his spiked club. Tuoba Yun? The leader was the 8th prince's strongest guest, Dao Yan. Unexpectedly, Tuoba Yun met him here. Dao Yan clearly recognized Tuoba Yun, knowing that he was the 13th prince's strong subordinate. A murderous intent flashed in Dao Yan's heart. The 8th prince and the 13th prince were strong enemies. However, the murderous intent vanished in an instant. This was only the first round. The 8th prince and the 13th prince were far from fighting. Furthermore, the first prince was a common enemy. It was not good for the two to clash so early. Dao Yan smiled and said, "It looks like Brother Tuoba already took away this inheritance. We came here for nothing." Tuoba Yun was a 5-vein sovereign emperor with a great desolate Ian bloodline. He was not someone a regular 5-vein sovereign emperor could compare to. Since Tuoba Yun made a move, there was no hope for this thunder flame inheritance. However, Tuoba Yun was alone. His companions had either died or left. Perhaps with one glance, Tuoba Yun knew what Dao Yan was thinking. He said calmly, "Given the 8th prince and the 13th prince's alliance, if I obtain the inheritance, logically speaking, I should share some benefits with Brother Dao Yan. At least I won't make Brother Dao Yan come here for nothing." Dao Yan thought to himself, Tuoba Yun is very reasonable. This is for the best. This will not hurt the friendship and make me feel better. However, I did not obtain the inheritance of this place. I will explain this later. Right now, I just want to ask, along the way, did Brother Dao Yan see the heavenly alliance's Xiao Chun? Tuoba Yun asked seriously as a bright light flickered in his eyes. Xiao Chun. A murderous intent flashed in Dao Yan's eyes as he asked softly, "Is he here? I did not see him. Damn it, this brat played me." Tuoba Yun's expression changed drastically when he heard that. Not bothering to explain, he turned and fled. "Follow." Dao Yan's expression flickered as he quickly followed. Chapter 2290. The place where the Thunder Flame inheritance was. After the jade strip in Xiao Chen's hand reached 3 dragon images, it stopped increasing. There was clearly still a lot of dragon essence in the water like Thunder Flame, but it could not increase. Perhaps that remnant soul could be controlled and wanted to preserve the dragon essence for the next successor in the succession race. This is enough. The Thunder Flame inheritance was a peak superior grade inheritance. With some small tricks, Xiao Chen managed to fool Tuoba Yun away and monopolize the treasures and resources of this place. This was already a great harvest. What else was there to be dissatisfied with? I nearly forgot. Xiao Chun took out 2 jade strips from his storage ring. The jade strips were heavy, and they also contained incredibly vast dragon essence. These were left by Qin Yu and Qin Liang. Earlier, these two relied on their bloodline advantage to move about without fear with Tuoba Yun. After breaking through many inheritances, they clearly gained a lot. Whoosh! Xiao Chun transferred the dragon essence in the 2 jade strips to his own jade strip. In that instant, his jade strip gave off a dazzling light. It was crystalline and resplendent. The dazzling light moved people's hearts. Another dragon image swam in the surroundings, causing Xiao Chun to reveal a joyful expression. The further one progressed, the harder it was to collect the dragon images in the jade strips. This jade slip with 4 dragons was equivalent to 10 jade slips with only 1 dragon roar. With such a harvest in less than 10 days, Xiao Qin's dragon essence definitely surpassed everyone else's. It's time to go. After putting away the jade strip, Xiao Chun left the inheritance hall. Crack! The instant Xiao Chun stepped out, the shattered bronze door reformed. Xiao Chun entered deep thought as he stared at the mysterious thunder pattern in the center of the ancient bronze door for a while. Without any warning, Xiao Chun attacked ferociously, striking the thunder pattern. Bang! Xiao Chun bounced back. Interesting. Xiao Chun was certain that the force of his strike was no weaker than Tuoba Yun's earlier strike. Since Xiao Chun could not break the door again, it could only mean that the thunder pattern did not work earlier. Xiao Chun gently stroked the thunder mark and closed his eyes. He could feel a strong and powerful force condensing within the thunder mark. Unable to understand it for the time being, Xiao Chun took out the stone slab and copied the lightning pattern. If he thought about it in the future, he might be able to gain something. When Xiao Chun turned around to look, the sacred beetles that were everywhere had disappeared without a trace. The demon blood vulture probably treated it as a great nourishing pill and directly consumed it. In the center of the hall, a blood cocoon was burning fiercely, and a wave of divine might was faintly discernible. When he focused his gaze, there seemed to be the silhouette of an ancient vermilion bird at the center of the blood cocoon. It looks like the demon blood vulture had a pretty good harvest. When it wakes up again, it should be able to make a breakthrough. With a wave of his hand, Xiao Chun placed the blood cocoon into his storage ring. Dong dong dong. Hurried footsteps approached from afar, and a figure appeared like a gust of wind. It was Tuoba Yun, who had returned. You're really here. Tuoba Yun felt enraged. When he looked around, he saw the bronze doors behind Xiao Chun recover. Tuoba Yun immediately felt so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood. You bastard! To think that you dare to trick me, monopolizing the Thunder Flame inheritance. Xiao Chun's expression did not change, ignoring the enraged Tuoba Yun. He sensed an even more terrifying aura behind him. Whoosh! Indeed, the moment Tuoba Yun finished speaking, Dao Yin appeared with the other two Divine Sword Pavilion experts. Dao Yin. Xiao Chun thought for a while and recalled this person. He had met this person once outside the palace. This was the strongest guest under the 8th Prince Wang Feng, the Divine Sword Pavilion's Vice Pavilion Master. The Divine Sword Pavilion expert who tried to assassinate Xiao Chun in the Smiling Daughter Pavilion might be this person. What a coincidence! Brother Xiao, unexpectedly we meet here. Dao Yin said sinisterly when he saw Xiao Chun, showing a smile that did not seem like a smile. When Tuoba Yin saw this scene, he could not help feeling nervous. Could this Xiao Chun be on good terms with Dao Yin? However, Tuoba Yin relaxed in the next moment. Do you intend to give up on your own, or do you want me to let you go? Dao Yin threatened in an indifferent tone. It looks like you are definitely the Divine Sword Pavilion expert who tried to assassinate me in the Smiling Daughter Pavilion back then. Xiao Chun showed a calm expression as he stared at Dao Yin. Monarch Yu is one of my final disciples. As his master, it is not a big deal for me to seek justice for my disciple. However, I do not wish to dwell on these grudges. Hand over the Thunder Flame inheritance and the jade strip in your hand, and I can let you off for now. Strength reigned supreme in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Dao Yin did not have any qualms, so he could not be bothered to keep up the pretense. Sorry, I'm afraid I cannot agree to that. Die then. Dao Yin snorted coldly, and a strand of sword chi appeared out of nowhere, shooting at Xiao Chun. Whoosh! In that instant, Xiao Chun turned into an ice sculpture, maintaining his earlier posture, not moving at all. Everywhere the sword chi passed, a pillar of ice condensed, looking like it would never melt. Tuoba Yun's expression changed dramatically in shock. 10th layer Dao domain, ice small world. To think that this Dao Yin comprehended the ice Dao domain to the 10th layer. The flowing shadows turned into ice, never melting. Dao Yin frowned slightly. Then, he looked around and discovered Xiao Chun in a different direction. The one that froze earlier was the afterimage that Xiao Chun left behind. Without saying anything, Dao Yin flicked his finger. More than 1,000 sword images with a chilling aura shot out from behind him, looking like flowing light. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao Qian's figure turned illusory, continuously flickering. The many afterimages got sealed in ice. In mere moments, hundreds of afterimages were sealed in ice in the hall. The ice pillars formed by the sword images crisscrossed in the air, looking very scary. Crack! Xiao Qian could not dodge in time. In the end, a strand of sword chi struck him. The cold penetrated the dragon armor and injured his physical body. Fortunately, Xiao Qian had awakened his blue dragon divine body once, so he would not die instantly. As Xiao Qian looked at the frost-encroaching alloy dragon armor, he did not get flustered or surprised. While the other party was talking to him, he had already spread his small world of ice soundlessly throughout this space. It was only a matter of time before Xiao Qian got struck when fighting in this small world. Dao Yan's cultivation was only one grade higher than Tuobi Yun's. However, the combat prowess that he displayed was worlds apart. A 10th layer Dao domain and an ice small world could indeed inspire despair. You can only blame your greed for meeting me so early, overestimating yourself, and wanting to monopolize a superior grade inheritance. I'll give you one last chance. Are you going to give me the Thunder Flame inheritance or not? Dao Yan threatened again when he saw that he had already injured Xiao Qian. Dao Yan feared that Xiao Qian would give up and leave the ancient Yan Emperor tomb. If that happened, he would not gain any benefits at all. Overestimating myself? I have many flaws, but I have never been arrogant. Dao Yan, you can't scare me. Xiao Qian's body trembled. As electric light flickered, he scattered the frost on his body. The divine lightning talisman in his palm slowly appeared under the sea in his soul pool. The talisman formed by the Immortal epoc's 10,000 tribulation divine lightning revealed a tip of the iceberg. With just a tip, the strongest divine lightning of the previous epoch burst out with horrifying lightning-attributed energy. Boom! The divine lightning talisman in Xiao Qian's palm soared into the sky and instantly broke Dao Yan's small world. Then, it did not lose momentum. As boundless electric light flashed, the talisman broke the small world of the Thunder Flame inheritance. Kassier! Kassier! In that instant, chaos reigned. Dao Yan's ice small world shook. The eternal ice pillars in the air shattered, turning into a terrifying storm of ice and snow wreaking havoc. Xiao Qian's figure flashed, and he leaped up through the hole the divine lightning talisman broke. You want to leave? It's not that easy. The sudden situation startled Dao Yan. He gave chase with a ferocious roar. Fiendish saber inheritance, water droplet breaking the firmament. Saber intent gathered in Xiao Qian's entire body. He flicked his finger, and a water droplet shot out. This water droplet looked unremarkable amid the many berserk ice storms. The raging Dao Yan did not notice it. He only had eyes for Xiao Qian. Bang! This water droplet landed silently on Dao Yan's chest, and the water droplet exploded. Immediately, an unparalleled berserk saber intent shook the entire palace. Before the saber intent that spread out, the surrounding ice storms only lasted for a moment before shattering into ice shards. Dao Yan vomited blood and fell heavily to the ground, breaking the restrictions there. Amidst the rumbling, a huge pit appeared in the ground, and a terrifying, water-like thunder flame crazily overflowed. Dao Yan held his hand over his chest. Then he looked at his hand at the blood on it. Dao Yan found it unbelievable that Xiao Qian managed to injure him. Furthermore, the injuries were not light. Senior brother, the inheritance's self-destruct restriction has been activated. We have to leave quickly. The expressions of Dao Yan's two junior brothers changed drastically as they looked at the thunder flames scattering everywhere. As for Tuobi Yun, the saber intent had knocked him back. When he saw the scattered thunder flames, he fled in fright. Damn it! However, Dao Yan seemed to have gone mad. He roared with all his might, and his fine black hair instantly turned snow white. A boundless cold light burst out of Dao Yan's body. Whoosh! 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 In the next moment, The thunder flames that even Tuoba Yun found horrifying were sealed in ice. If someone looked from outside, the entire palace would be covered in frost. The endless lightning bolts in the sky looked like spears sealed in ice. This startled the two from the Divine Sword Pavilion. They had not expected their senior brother's true strength to be so strong. "Xiao Chun, don't let me see you again," Dao Yin said through clenched teeth with a sullen expression, enunciating every word. However, no matter how sullen or furious Dao Yin felt, Xiao Chun had already left with the Thunder Flame inheritance. Chapter 2291. With the Divine Lightning Talisman supporting his Thunder Dao domain, Xiao Chun broke through two small worlds and left the inheritance palace. Whoosh! Xiao Chun's figure flickered, and he left a purple lightning mark in the air as he quickly flew away. An hour later, after confirming that no one was chasing after him, Xiao Chun lightly tapped the air and landed steadily like a swallow. Maintaining high-intensity flight in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb drained divine energy. Since there was no longer any threat, there was naturally no need to waste divine essence. The ground was a wasteland, with sporadic ferocious beasts moving about. Occasionally, some hanger-ons could be seen searching for inheritances in the distance. This place could be considered safe. So. Rising and falling, Xiao Chun leaped continuously, and after a while, he landed on a barren mountain. He used his divine sense to scan the surroundings, and after confirming it carefully, he set up a simple camouflage array according to the surrounding environment. At this point, Xiao Chun was completely relieved. Lightning flashed, and the alloy dragon armor turned into a mercury-like flowing light that entered the gloves. Looking at the wound on his chest that had yet to heal, Xiao Chun frowned slightly. A sovereign emperor who condensed a 10th layer Dao domain was far stronger than Xiao Chun imagined. One strand of sword qi equaled a peak strike from a regular person. With the 10th layer Dao domain, one's great Dao energy already underwent a qualitative change. Without reaching that level, it would be hard for others to truly understand the horrifying might of a 10th layer Dao domain. Unfortunately, it became increasingly difficult to raise one's Dao domain. Dao Yin could be considered extremely talented. He had an exceptional understanding of the Ice Dao, but he had spent more than 300 years before he had a major breakthrough. Without a great fortuitous encounter, Xiao Chun wanted to advance to the 10th layer Dao domain and form a small world. He could only rely on time, 100 years, 1,000 years to slowly grind and slowly comprehend. However, there would be no more than 3 experts like Dao Yin in the entire ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Let's take a look at the harvest first. A great desolate Yin heavenly essence fruit, a bottle of lightning immortal dew, and a peak divine vein cultivation technique, thunder flame art. Heavenly origin fruit. The pure white heaven origin fruit was adorned with green leaves. Its radiance was reserved, and it contained an incomparably surging spiritual energy. However, not a single trace of it leaked out. When Xiao Chun sent his spiritual sense into the fruit, he found that there was a universe inside. It was enormous and vast, and traces of the passage of time could be seen everywhere. It was crystalline, translucent, and suffused with a pure primordial aura. Xiao Chun vaguely sensed that this mutated fruit could help him break through to peak 2 vein sovereign emperor. This might even allow his 10,000 dragons art to break through to the 3rd layer. The great desolate Yin Qi contained in it was the key to the 10,000 dragons art's breakthrough. The cultivation of the 10,000 dragons art sought the source, reversing the bloodline to its ancestor, improving one's bloodline step by step. After breaking through to the 5th layer, it could be upgraded to the ancestral dragon art. After withdrawing his spiritual sense, Xiao Chun thought to himself, what a pity. If the 3rd palace master had refined this into a medicinal pill, he would have been able to perfectly display its medicinal properties. It would be a waste to refine it on the spot. However, Xiao Chun had no choice. If he wanted to survive in this ancient Yin Emperor tomb, he had to continuously strengthen himself, especially after encountering Dao Yin. It made Xiao Chun feel that his own strength was insufficient. He didn't want to encounter the other party again and be forced to go far away. Outsiders might think that to be able to escape from Daoxuan's hands was an incredible thing. However, in Xiao Chen's eyes, it was not worth being proud of at all. Xiao Chun stopped hesitating and directly swallowed the heavenly yuan fruit. The mutated fruit melted in his mouth, and vast spiritual energy erupted wildly, surging in his body like a raging river. If one's cultivation was insufficient, one's physical body would not be strong enough. The instant one swallowed this fruit, one's body would explode, dying on the spot. Xiao Chen had the blue dragon divine body and dual cultivated divine and demonic. Naturally, he did not fear this. Xiao Chen calmly sensed the explosive energy coming from the heavenly yuan fruit. He circulated the 10,000 dragons art calmly, circulating the 10,000 dragons art. As the 10,000 dragons art circulated, the spiritual energy and great desolate Yin Qi in the mutated fruit entered Xiao Chen's divine energy, Qi, through his two divine veins. Boom! The instant the spiritual energy from the heavenly yuan fruit landed, the raging sea surged and the rock shattered. Shocking waves surged in this divine energy sea. A horrifying aura erupted from Xiao Chen's body. Crack! A certain shackle in Xiao Chen's body broke, and a brand new divine vein appeared in his body. Xiao Chen should have broken through back at the Black Mountain Range. Now, he finally became a three-vein sovereign emperor. However, the spiritual energy and great desolate Yin Qi in the heavenly yuan fruit did not stop, continuing to pour in. Xiao Chen held his breath and focused, not daring to relax at all. Xiao Chen's breakthrough in cultivation was expected. He had long since broken through the shackles of a two-vein sovereign emperor. Now, it was just a matter of time. The most important thing was the 10,000 dragons art's breakthrough. This was the crux. If Xiao Chen did not grasp this opportunity, he might not find another opportunity to make a breakthrough in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. As Xiao Chen refined the mutated fruit, the depressed Tuoba Yin returned to the 13th prince's side. Tuoba Yin, you came back a good time. What happened to my two uncles? The Dragon God Crown Prince Qin Ming immediately asked when he saw Tuoba Yin. They were both royal members of the Golden Dragon race, so their bloodlines were connected. Qin Ming vaguely sensed that something had happened to his two uncles. Seeing that only Tuoba Yin returned, Qin Ming's expression immediately turned somewhat gloomy. Sorry, Brother Qin Yu and Brother Qin Liang died at Xiao Chen's hands. Tuoba Yin was rather magnanimous. The two's deaths did not have much to do with him. As for Tuoba Yin's agreement with Xiao Chen, it was a temporary cooperation after the two died. It was not a big mistake. Aside from this matter, he told Qin Ming everything else in detail. They died just like that? My two uncles were four-vein sovereign emperors. Furthermore, they had the Emperor Dragon Sword. Even if they could not defeat Xiao Chen, they should not have died. Clearly, Qin Ming had not expected Tuoba Yin to bring him the worst-case scenario. What's wrong? You don't believe me? Tuoba Yin felt very depressed in the first place. When he saw Qin Ming's attitude, he immediately felt upset. You are the Dragon God Crown Prince and hold a noble status in the Divine Dragon Empire. However, I am a member of the Heavenly Wolf Empire's royal clan. You cannot control me. Qin Ming stared at Tuoba Yin with a sullen expression. Then, the pressure of a golden emperor dragon pressed over. This fellow, Tuoba Yin, felt some pressure, feeling incredibly shocked in his heart. He had not expected Qin Ming to be so young. Unexpectedly, Qin Ming possessed such a terrifying dragon might at such a young age. Sikong Shu, who was dressed in a straw raincoat, frowned and said, Brother Tuoba should be telling the truth. Xiao Chen? Xiao Chen did not dare to openly attack him in Yin City. However, he will not be able to be arrogant in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The 13th Prince Wang, he smiled faintly. After some thought, he said, Brother Qin, there's no need to get angry. I'll help you take revenge. Qin Ming startled to his senses. He knew that this was not the time to get angry. Sorry, Big Brother Toba offended me earlier. Your Highness, there is no need to mobilize so many people for such a small matter. I can deal with it myself. It's just a small matter. In the end, I am somewhat responsible for Qin Yu and Qin Liang's deaths. Tuoba Yun released his bated breath and apologized when he saw the situation. However, Wang Yi did not intend to leave the matter at that. He smiled and said, "That's not the case. Brother Qin, think about it. Is there a chance to kill him after we leave the ancient Yin Emperor tomb?" Qin Ming thought to himself as he looked around. It would be very difficult to kill Xiao Chun outside. This was clear from the 2 previous assassinations that failed. Your Highness, do you have a good plan? It is not easy to find a person in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Seeing Wang Yi's solemn and confident look, Qin Ming took the opportunity to ask, "Let's hear what this person has to say." Wang Yi took 2 steps forward and said, "It is not easy to find guests, but it is easy to find a prince." Qin Ming's eyes lit up in understanding. Whether the princes drew their Yin imperial swords in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb or not, they all contained vast luck. They all contained vast amounts of dragon luck, which was clearly different from ordinary guests. As long as we find a 9th prince, we don't have to worry about Xiao Chan not showing up. At that time, Qin Ming will not have a chance to make a move. The moment Wang Yi said that, Bai Yunfei and Xiahou Zun, who were beside Qin Ming, felt excited. Such a plan was indeed an opportunity to force Xiao Chen to show up. Wang Yi continued, "Even if Xiao Chan does not show up, it does not matter. We can use this opportunity to destroy that Wang Yin and collect his dragon essence." Perhaps this was Wang Yi's true purpose. Qin Ming did not say anything. He, Bai Yunfei, and the others all looked at Sikong Shu. This plan is feasible. Sikong Shu slowly opened his mouth and only said 4 words. Chapter 2292. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed in the succession race in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. The fierce competition had reached a white-hot stage. After the first round, 1/3 of the princes would be eliminated. Even if one had no intention of becoming the crown prince, surviving a few more rounds would increase their chances of obtaining valuable treasures in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Obviously, no one was willing to be eliminated in the first round. In the ancient pine forest, the 9th prince Wang Yin, the heavenly book scholar Hao Kai, and Senior Feng worked together, calculating the dragon essence they collected. "Your Highness, the dragon essence we've collected is enough to last us through this round." The heavenly book scholar took inventory of the dragon essence the others collected. Wang Yin nodded. "In that case, there is no need to take too many risks in the remaining time. 9th prince, I felt that something is wrong for the past few days. There are always people approaching us in the dark, as if they are purposely searching for us." Elder Feng's expression was grave, and worry could be seen on his face. The Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai said calmly, "I sensed it as well. However, Senior Feng's attainments in the Wind Great Tao are pretty good. It seems like he managed to shake off these people. I'm just lucky. With such repeated searches, it's only a matter of time before I'm exposed." Elder Feng did not try to claim credit for himself. Instead, he spoke honestly. Wang Yin narrowed his eyes slightly as he said, "I also sensed it. Hence, I did not want to compete for the inheritance for the rest of the time. To be safe, we should find a secluded place and hide for a while. Chanji, what do you think?" When the heavenly book scholar saw that Xiao Chan was asking him, he replied calmly, "I still do not know what the situation is. I also do not know who the enemy is. It is best to remain still." Then it's settled. After the 9th Prince Wang Yin made up his mind, he asked, "Right now, which guests are still in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb?" The heavenly book scholar thought for a while before saying, "Something unexpected happened to several people. Right now, only Xiao Saw, Qin Zhuolin, Wu Ming, and the lone Xiao Chun are still around. Your Highness, are you planning to summon them here?" He had already sensed that someone was spying on him. Gathering these guests was undoubtedly the safest method. Unexpectedly, Wang Yin only asked casually and did not agree. "There's no need. The fortuitous encounters in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb might change their lives. I haven't reached a critical juncture of life and death, so there's no need to summon it back. Moreover, forcefully summoning it back will consume a lot of dragon essence. Wang Yin glanced at the heavenly book scholar and said, I'll leave my safety to the three of you. Your Highness, please rest assured. Wang Yin had already sensed that a prince was secretly searching for him. However, he did not know who it was. He wasn't too nervous in his heart. He was rather calm and had a trace of the calmness of king. Somewhere on a desolate mountain in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, as Shao Chun refined the heaven essence fruit on the spot, the image of a blue dragon almost overlapped with his physical body. Around the blue dragon, the dragon roar rang out endlessly. This was the 10,000 dragons picture manifested with his own blue dragon as the leader. The great desolate Yin Qi surged in Shao Chen's body. The breakthrough of the 10,000 dragons art's second layer had already reached the crucial moment. All of a sudden, a strange phenomenon occurred. The great desolate Yin Qi from the heavenly Yuan fruit poured into the blue dragon. The originally faint dragon image gradually became more substantial. Azure light flared, and dragon might soared. Boom! Aside from the blue dragon, the other 10,000 dragon images shattered, turning into drops of spiritual blood. The drops of spiritual blood looked like rain, hovering in the air. In the next moment, the thousands of drops of spiritual blood entered the only remaining azure dragon image. The faint dragon image slowly turned solid and lifelike, looking like it came to life and filled with spirituality. An ancient, great, desolate Ian aura transcended time and space, descending from the distant past to the present. There seemed to be an ancient dragon domain behind Shao Chun, hidden in heavy fog. The group of dragons roared. 10,000 dragons roared. The moment he opened his eyes, the instant Shao Chun opened his eyes, the fog scattered, and a blue dragon's head peeked out. The dragon's eyes stared at Shao Chun. If anyone else were here, they would feel heavy pressure. Shao Chun vaguely felt a force calling out to him. The blue dragon bloodline buried deep in Shao Chun's body awakened. A hot berserk energy spread throughout his body, making his bloodline as hot as lava. Amid the call of that ancient dragon voice, Shao Chun's dragon blood surged, burning fiercely. Shao Chun could no longer hold back. He opened his eyes and saw the sky shattering. In that shattered corner, Shao Chun's vision seemed to transcend time and space, seeing an ancient dragon nation. Dragons roared. 10,000 dragons roared. Berserk dragons filled the sky and the ground. The many living dragons materialized a mythical nation. Suddenly, one of the dragons raised its head from the sea of dragons. That dragon's gaze traveled from the past to the future, then met Shao Chun's eyes. Immediately, Shao Chun's heart trembled. The depths of his soul stirred, and his entire body trembled. Then, he suddenly startled awake. Everything was normal. There was nothing. It was like everything from earlier was an illusion, fleeting and fleeting, disappearing in the blink of an eye. However, that scene was simply too shocking. With just one look, it was imprinted in the depths of his soul. At this moment, Shao Chun seemed to understand why many of the dragon race seniors wanted to start a divine dragon dynasty. It was because the dragon race had a glorious history, once shining like the many stars in the sky, illuminating an era. Shaking his head, Shao Chun stopped thinking about the shock he just experienced. After returning to reality, Shao Chun muttered to himself, the 10,000 dragons art should have broken through to the third layer. However, the mental cultivation method for the third layer is missing, so I can't cultivate it for now. However, the change that it brings is beyond my expectations. 10,000 dragons picture. With a thought, a dragon picture appeared behind Shao Chun. However, this dragon picture was very different from before, completely different. Originally, it was a picture of the blue dragon, a vast picture of 10,000 dragons contending for the top. Now, the vast background remained, but only the blue dragon remained. In the past, there were too many dragon images. Even the blue dragon was just a blurry silhouette, only a rough outline. Now, the blue dragon's figure appeared clearly, down to the smallest detail. The dragon scales, dragon claws, and dragon spirit could be seen at a glance, without missing any details. The dragon's eyes had spirituality, and its charm was withdrawn. It was like a living blue dragon. Xiao Chan smiled faintly and circulated the 10,000 dragons art. Then, the picture immediately shattered. The blue dragon leaped out of the vast picture, looking like it had descended from ancient times as it circled around Xiao Chun. Dragon might spread out from Xiao Chen's body. This was the true divine might of the blue dragon from the ancient Great Desolate Aeon. The cultivation of the 10,000 dragons art traced its origins step by step, reversing one's bloodline and returning to one's ancestry. One could cultivate it with any dragon race bloodline. When one reached the third layer, one would materialize a divine dragon unique to one's bloodline. With one more step, the divine dragon would return to its ancestry and become a great desolate Aeon ancestor dragon. Xiao Chun felt satisfied with the current divine dragon might. He said softly, "Given this, it will be much easier for me to execute the god-demon body unsealing technique." One heavenly essence fruit allowed Xiao Chun to break through to 3-vein Sovereign Emperor and the 10,000 dragons art to the third layer. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, greatly improving his strength. After taking out the lightning immortal dew, Xiao Chun did not think too much and poured it in. It was as that remnant's soul said. This lightning immortal dew had a similar effect to Origin liquid, pure and without any side effects. Xiao Chun poured in 1 cubic meter of lightning immortal dew to strengthen his Dao domain. Then, Xiao Chun felt his peak 5th layer thunder Dao domain expand at a visible rate. Then it suddenly erupted, breaking through peak 5th layer and advancing to the 6th layer. Xiao Chen's cultivation technique, and Dao domain all made breakthroughs. Everything felt like a dream. However, it was not too exaggerated. After all, this was before he entered the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Xiao Chen's cultivation technique, and Dao domain had already been stuck at bottlenecks for a long time. Now that his strength had made consecutive breakthroughs, it would not be easy for his strength to soar within a short period. There were so many benefits to monopolizing a superior grade inheritance that surprised Xiao Chen. There was still the Thunder Flame art, which conflicted with his cultivation technique. So, Xiao Chun did not intend to comprehend it. However, there was no harm in taking a look. The instant Xiao Chun flipped open the title page, he frowned slightly, feeling stunned for a moment. The first thing that entered Xiao Chen's eyes was a lightning pattern, exactly the same as the mysterious lightning pattern on the ancient bronze doors. As Xiao Chun flipped through the pages, his expression turned increasingly grave. After a while, he suddenly closed the book. This lightning pattern was the outline of a seal called the Thundercloud Lock. One could grasp this seal and condense this lightning pattern only by grasping the Thunder Great Tao and the Fire Great Tao. I do not need to grasp this lightning pattern. However, since I understand the principles behind it, can it help me open that bronze door again? Xiao Chen's eyes lit up as he thought of a possibility. I'll try it out first. Xiao Chun immediately took action after thinking about it. He soared into the air and rushed back to the Thunder Flame inheritance. Chapter 2293. Xiao Chen's Strength Sword. He advanced to 3-vein Sovereign Emperor. His Thunder Dao domain broke through to the 6th layer, his Ice domain reached the 4th layer, and his 10,000 dragons art broke through to the 3rd layer. Compared to when Xiao Chun first entered the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, he could be said to have undergone a complete transformation, looking completely different. If Xiao Chun fought Tuobi Yun again, he would not have to worry about severely injuring him and could suppress him at will. As for someone like Dao Yan, he could fight boldly and bring out all his trump cards. It would be hard to say who would win or lose. His figure soared into the air. For hours later, he returned to the Thunder Flame inheritance. Then, he fell in through the hole he made. Before the surrounding ice scattered, Dao Yan attacked in a rage before he left, sealing the Berserk Thunder Flame in ice. In the main hall, many weird ice pillars were formed. Footprints covered the ground, turning the place into a mess. It was not hard to guess that during this period of time, there would be other guests who would come here one after another. However, they had all been blocked by the ancient bronze door and had to return empty-handed. Whoosh! After observing for a while, Xiao Qian's figure flashed, appearing like he teleported to the ancient door amid a flash of electric light. Then, he stretched out his hand and touched the mysterious lightning pattern. According to the records in the Thunder Flame art, one had to cultivate this cultivation technique in order to grasp this seal. Xiao Qian only cultivated the lightning-attributed Great Tao and the ice-attributed Great Tao. Clearly, he could not cultivate the Thunder Flame art and grasp this seal. This seal sealed an area. Even Tao Yin could not break it. Forcefully breaking it would not succeed. He could only use his wits. Xiao Qian let go, and the Thunder Great Tao energy circulated in his body. Circles of Tao patterns spread out, and electricity crackled and flickered continuously. The Tao might shook the area. The Tao might spread out, and the surrounding ice pillars sealing the thunder flame trembled slightly. Then ice shards fell off. Whoosh! Xiao Qian used his Thunder Tao domain to support it. Then he simulated the same lightning pattern on his fingertip before gently touching it. Xiao Qian touched the center of the ancient bronze door, and a loud sound rang out. Blood leaked out of Xiao Qian's mouth as he went flying, nearly crashing into the ice pillar. Fortunately, Xiao Qian's movement technique was agile, allowing him to change his position. Whoosh! Xiao Qian moved like a phantom, weaving through the strange ice pillars. Then, he landed before the ancient bronze door. It failed. What's wrong? Frowning, Xiao Qian fell into deep thought. He took out the Thunder Flame art and started reading it again. Thud, thud, thud. He tried a few more times, but all of them ended in failure. Instead, he suffered some light injuries. No wonder even Tao Yin had chosen to give up. Even though he had grasped the Thunder Flame art, it was still so difficult. If this still doesn't work, then we really have to give up. Xiao Qian muttered to himself. He planned to use the Universe Origin True Flame to replace the Fire Tao domain and imitate this seal together with the Thunder Tao domain. Suddenly, a wisp of primordial true fire rose from his palm. Xiao Qian's expression was solemn as he stared straight at this wisp of flame. Xiao Qian used the Thunder Flame art's secret technique to drive the Thunder Tao domain. In an instant, thunder and lightning crackled around the flames on his palm. The instant the thunder and flames merged, the mysterious thunder mark appeared on Xiao Qian's palm, disappearing in a flash. Pa! In 1/10,000th of a second, Xiao Qian grasped that fleeting opportunity and pressed his palm on the ancient, bronze door's thunder mark. The thunder mark radiated light, and talisman scripts appeared on the ancient, bronze door. Then, surging lightning-attributed energy spread out from the ancient door. Rumble! A loud sound rang out, and the entire Thunder Flame hall shook endlessly, looking like it was on the verge of collapse. The originally frozen Thunder Flame came to life, and ice shards fell like snow. Crack! Crack! Xiao Qian's eyes lit up as the ancient, bronze door opened. He gently pushed off with his feet, breaking the rules of this body's owner and charging back. Whoosh! Before Xiao Qian could do anything, the remnant soul that he saw earlier appeared before Xiao Qian. However, this remnant soul's figure was dim and incredibly weak. It did not react much to Xiao Qian's appearance. What's wrong? Xiao Qian asked seriously when he saw that the remnant soul's state was not right. The remnant soul replied calmly, "When you fought with that person from the Divine Sword Pavilion, you already broke the restrictions that I left back then. Before that person left, he sealed the rampaging thunder flame in ice. That will only stabilize it for a while." Xiao Qian thought very quickly, and he soon understood. The thunder flame inheritance would be like the ice inheritance, completely collapsing. After that, he would no longer be able to enter. However, that white-clad Yin Emperor had taken the initiative to destroy the inheritance before giving it to Xiao Qian. This remnant soul, before Xiao Qian, was passive. The collapse of the Thunder Flame inheritance was not under its control. Since that is the case, Why don't you give me all the treasures of the inheritance, the medicinal pills, and the secret treasures? Xiao Chun thought, the hall is going to be destroyed. Rather than dying with it, I might as well be a good person and give them to myself. You're not the person I chose. Even though you entered this hall twice, you are not the person I am waiting for. The remnant's soul remained calm when faced with Xiao Chen's somewhat shameless request. It said indifferently, aside from the dragon essence, which I cannot leave behind, the other treasures will be destroyed. Take care. Boom. Right after the remnant's soul spoke, it vanished completely. At the same time, the entire hall went out of control. The Thunder Flame's berserk charge caused the neighboring halls to explode. The explosions looked like fireworks in the ancient Yin Emperor tomb, attracting everyone's attention. Xiao Chun felt somewhat depressed. If he were a prince, perhaps the result would be different. However, since he came, he could not leave empty-handed. The result was within Xiao Chen's expectations. What caught his eye was the vast dragon essence hidden in the Thunder Flame. The dragon essence in this hall far surpassed the other inheritances that Xiao Chen knew. Back then, the remnant soul had controlled it, preventing Xiao Chun from absorbing too much. Now, he could accept it without any worries. Rumble. The Thunder Flame inheritance was a superior grade inheritance, and it exploded. When many people saw this, they felt that it was unfortunate. In the future succession race, this inheritance will be removed from the list of inheritances. No one knew that Xiao Chun was happily collecting vast amounts of dragon essence amid the tragic fireworks explosion. The ancient Yin Emperor tomb was boundlessly vast. Many princes and guests could see the shock waves from the Thunder Flame inheritance's explosion. However, even more princes and guests could not sense it. For example, the ninth Prince Wang Yin and the Heavenly Book Scholar, who accompanied him, did not know. Your Highness, this is Black Wind Ridge, a forbidden land of the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Aside from the lingering sinister winds and baleful aura, there are no inheritances or dragon essence here. This is a rather ideal place to hide, the Heavenly Book Scholar said to Wang Yin as he pointed to the surroundings. It would be hard to find such a desolate place in an ancient, blessed land like the ancient Yin Emperor tomb. Dark clouds covered the place, and sinister winds blew endlessly. The spiritual energy here was thin, and weeds grew everywhere. Wang Yin showed a calm expression as he looked into the distance. The sinister winds howled like ghosts in the boundless darkness. Wang Yin showed a calm expression as he looked into the distance. The sinister winds howled like ghosts in the boundless darkness. If this person really wants to kill me, he will still chase me even in this horrifying forbidden land. Wang Yin did not show any worry or anxiety on his face. He only felt confused. Who in the world is in such a rush to eliminate me in the first round? The Heavenly Book Scholar remained silent for a while. He knew that Wang Yin was right, so he consoled. Your Highness, there is no need to worry. Given our current strength, there is no need to be so cautious. However, there is no need to expose our strength in the first round and suffer losses. Wang Yin smiled faintly and said, You might think that, but others might not. The more we try to avoid it, the more they will push their luck. I understand those brothers of mine too well. Just at this moment, Senior Feng frowned slightly and said, Your Highness, I'm afraid we will have to leave again. The Golden Crow Empire's how Kai looked around. After some thought, he said, I sense some strong auras. Wang Yin showed a grave expression as he shifted his gaze from the depths of Black Wind Ridge. Then, he said indifferently, We're not leaving. I want to see who is so overbearing. Wang Yan's repeated concessions had already crossed Wang Yan's bottom line. Wang Yin frequently guarded the borders, charging into battle, taking the lead. He had never been someone afraid of death. He had always been very reserved in the imperial capital, not competing with others. However, some people seem to have forgotten that he cultivated one of the most cold-blooded and emotionless Great Tao massacre.